Hello, hello, hello. Don't know if anybody's out there. We'll give this a few minutes on this lovely Saturday before Father's Day, I think. Hey, Jason. Jason, you'd look great up here. I know you're busy doing some other stuff, but you never looked better than when you were on here in these places. Hey, William, what's happening, man? Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. Back in my heyday of YouTube, I used to stream quite frequently. And now it's like maybe once in a month when I'm a little buzzed. I don't know. But it's Saturday. Not a whole lot going on, just listening to music, all that type of stuff. And I was like, you know what? Drinking beers and talking records, that's what we like doing. Jason, so, I either drink like a, fancy craft beer or something like that, or I drink like, Michelob. So I figured I'd go somewhere in between here, which is an Ohio Lights premium light beer. 105 calories. This is from the Columbus Brewing Company out of, you guessed it, Columbus. And I like when places do this. I like how obviously these craft beer places that do like these big IPAs or stouts or whatever are like, you know what? What if we just did our version of, a light beer or whatever, Bud Light, Coors Light, whatever. But what I appreciate is that they have to also do like the can art in that way too. And so, yeah, it's pretty hilarious, minimal. Looks like a, looks like a back of a truck beer. So that allows me to drink about 400 of them, Jason, without feeling too terrible. So, Jason, how's that record, man? I know you are dipping your toes into a live album tonight, and wanted to see your thoughts on it. Maybe you can start a fight with people that Live Dead isn't that good. I didn't say it. Of course, I feel like I'm kind of like cheating on Ohio right now because I'm wearing a Founders Brewery shirt, which is a Michigan shirt. So, yeah. Hey, Dave. I think I remember you saying that. And I was actually born in Marion, at the Marion Hospital. So I grew up like technically at the time my family was living in Mont Gilead. But I believe the story is that like the Marion Hospital was like the closest hospital. So, yeah, I might have been born in the same hospital you were born in, shockingly enough. But Marion's an interesting place for sure. They got a nice theater there. I will give them that. I think is it a Palace Theater? Nice historic theater. Not much else going on there as far as I know. But yeah, not for me so far. It is a Jason, and that might be, again, let's just remember that is a pretty valuable record and you got it for $4. So we can own that. But that is not a, they're not out playing, Sugar Magnolia and all that type of stuff. It's a little noisy and a little atonal and a little sloppy Joe. Man, I have not had a sloppy Joe in a long time. The whole little Manwich situation. I don't know if we know what a sloppy Joe really is or what Manwich is, but that's okay. I don't mind. Hey, Todd, how's it going, man? Good to see you. It's a good looking picture you got there. Rocking that. Thank you for the Hiromi recommend. Oh yeah, Hiromi's great, and I mentioned in that video. Glenn Kellaway's been talking about Hiromi for a while, and then I am a big watcher of Sea of Tranquility, and I know that George Lamy is a big Hiromi fan. And now I have to like go back a little bit in the back catalog because I think some of her early stuff was even a little bit more like Burn Infusion. Like I think she had like a guitar player, and hasn't for the last couple of albums. And like some people are like looking back, like, yeah, today's stuff is still amazing, but some of the earlier stuff used to be even more burning. So, yeah, I mean, it's just cool when you have new contemporary artists that are doing that type of stuff, right? I feel like especially jazz and jazz fusion is such a thing of the past or whatever that, there's plenty of people who are doing that stuff, but it's just, hard to find or hard to get exposed to, all that type of stuff. So, yeah. Todd says, I enjoy your videos, Alex. I'm trying to reconstruct my collection. I sold around 1990. Man, Todd, this seems to be the this seems to be like the heartbreak of everybody who used to be a collector back in the day is, they had all these records and then the CDs hit and they're like, we don't need these big, stupid pieces of wax anymore. Let's sell everything around that time. And I mean, it's heartbreaking hearing stories about people who, you probably sold it for probably next to nothing because no one wanted it, right? And now, how many people have done the cycle 3 or 4 times where they buy a collection, they sell it, they sell, all that type of stuff. And yeah, I mean, there's things that you're probably getting for, not a lot of money that, you just hear these crazy stories of people buying Blue Notes and stuff like that out from garbage cans back in the 90s. Not so much anymore. Even the bad records are expensive. Hey, sort of thing. Oh man, that's crazy. I saw well, now we know how old you are, Dave. Now, I remember last time I was there, I was supporting a colleague who was in a musical or a play, a musical, whatever. So me and like a bunch of work people went up there, and it was just like kind of fun because we were like, "What do we do? Like, can we go to the bar? Like, what do we do?" And I was like, "There's not really a lot going on." I mean, a beautiful place, and I know it's like a historic register situation, but yeah. That's brutal. I mean, well, I guess it depends it's brutal anyway. I mean, even if you get a lot of great stuff, I mean, that is a lot of money. Yeah. Okay. Todd, you're the one who was talking about the Collectco last time. Of course, Collectco just sounds like my bill collector's calling me. Well, what'd you get at least? I mean, did you like, was that like 1,000 Dan Fogelberg albums? Was it, I mean, what did you get? I mean, I guess $1,000, not all thousands of dollars are the same. Let's see, what have I been doing? Let's see, posted all these stupid videos, so I'm not going to show stuff that I posted. Let's see what's hiding out back here. Oh, shoot. Oh, I forgot about this. I didn't show this. Somebody asked about it on a comment on a recent video. Let's talk about this band. I think they're Welsh. Welshan? Those from Wales, are they Welsh? Welshan? Walish? It's not a good joke. Let's talk about Budgie. First of all, we need to talk about, before we talk about the band, we need to talk about this album cover. Let's just have a moment there for this fine canary looking motherfucker. Budgie stuff is pretty hard to find around these parts, and I don't know to the extent that what their kind of reissue situation looks like, but Budgie was kind of known as one of these proto heavy hard rock early metals type things. What's his face on here? Shelley? Is it Shelley? Where is his name? No? Burke Shelley is the bassist and drummer. God, they were a trio, which is pretty wild. They added a Grammy. Oh, sorry. Let's check this out here. They added a Grammy for cover art that should have been nominated. Oh, I guess you're talking about this. That's funny. A lot of OGs have Thin Lizzy, April Wine, but I mean, yeah, I know the drill. That sounds like a lot. Hey there, Douglas. Good to see you, my friend. Is that a fake PV? Might have to help me out, brother. I don't know what PV is. Anyway, yeah, so Budgie, fascinating band. Burke Shelley is a let's say a acquired taste on vocals, but they were cool. I mean, this is Bandolier, or as I like to say, and as my boy, we miss you, brother, would say, he wouldn't say Bandolier, he would say Bandolier. I think probably not. But yeah, no. I forgot I had this, and somebody asked about early stuff, but no, early Budgie stuff, especially over here, is hard to find. I don't know how it is in like the UK. If there's any UK people, it's probably about what, midnight or later there. I don't know. Budgie stuff is hard to find around here. This came out, I believe, in 75, so it was a little bit later. But a very cool band, and again, tough stuff to find. So yeah, I kind of forgot I had that sitting over here, but cool stuff. Let's catch up here on some different things we're going on. Some blah 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 blah. Yeah, those places are just really cool. Let's see, just saying fake pumping vinyl account. Okay, I don't know what we're talking about here. Anyways, it's fine. I don't know who the, yeah, okay. Used to have that album and turn my music loud to get the full effect. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is to, yeah, Budgie stuff is to crank a little bit, right? That is not a not something to just tone down. No, you know, look, I just don't. It's like I tried my hardest not to get involved with stuff, and like it's like I don't even know a lot of people, and so it just feels weird. Like I don't understand the point of like going to like other people's videos or streams and just like talking about things that I don't like. I have no relation to. No, like I got nothing. I have like no involvement or relation to any of these things. And like, I mean, this is probably one of the reasons that I don't stream anymore. But it's also like, what are we talking about here? Like, we're sitting here, like, I don't get it. So, not to be a dick, everybody's welcome. But also, it's like, what are we doing? Like, don't we have other things to do? I would hope we have other things to do. At least be a loser like me and get on YouTube and start talking about nothing and drinking beer. I mean, shoot, I just don't know why there would be a motivation to go, and I just don't get it. But hey, that's YouTube, that's being public and all that type of stuff. So to each of their own. All right. What else? This is a cool record, kind of outside of what I normally show. I'm a big fan of My Morning Jacket. They're one of my favorite bands. And this was a super group that was some time ago. They put out one album, one and done sort of thing. And that is the Monsters of Folk. Do people remember this band? So when I was in grad school, this is back 2015. God, it was 10 years ago. Shoot. My boss, he, had like a playlist going on, and he had a song on here called Tamansical, something out like that. I don't know. He had a song that was off this record on a playlist, and I was like, damn, that's good stuff. Who is that? He's like, oh, it's Monsters of Folk. And at that time, I didn't even know that there was like a Jim James kind of correlations. Yeah, dude, that's right. Monsters of Folk featuring Conor Oberst and the hymn of She and Him, I think, the one that like was singing with Zooey Deschanel, besides then some other guy who does like a lot of production work. I think they just did this record. I forget what year this came out. Was this like mid 2010s maybe, something like that? This is a cool record though. I remember when this originally got reissued, I was pretty happy because it was something I was on the lookout for a while. But it's a cool record. It's a very indie, folky, a little bit psychedelic type stuff, but a very cool super group made up of a bunch of random people. And I kind of like the one and done super groups, like I like that whole, like, we made a record and then we were done. Like, that's it. I think there's a cool story behind that. So There's Jim Jones there. Yeah, I know, Jim Jones is good stuff, right? I forget this is on any type of clear, maybe? Shit. Yeah, I guess it was on clear vinyl. You got to show the vinyl, people. Can you see me through it? Okay. Good times. Cool band, though. If you don't know Monsters of Folk, a cool super group, I guess, band featuring Jim James of My Morning Jacket, Connor Oberst of, is that Bright Eyes? Am I making that up? I don't know. Connor Oberst was never really my bag, but I felt like I always had a close friend who was in his bag, if you know what I mean. Not in his bag. That sounds terrible. But let's see. What do we got going on here? Yeah, let's pivot to the music, please. I have cues. I love the music back in the day, but now I'm learning some things I never know, like Dead Wax. Whole thing about Dead Wax secret imprinted codes. I have no idea. not at all. I mean, I guess you Dead Wax, you're talking about all the etchings and types and all those different things in like the Dead Wax, but I mean that's something that I get into a little bit, just depending on what it is I'm looking for. But I'm not like a give me the A1 B1, like that's not typically something I'm after. But that is a huge collectory thing that people get into. Heck yeah. Yeah, it's I don't think it's gonna like blow your mind or anything, but I just think it was like a cool one-off sort of supergroup situation. The Thorns also One and Done. I'm not sure. I don't know if I know the Thorns. Don't know if I am familiar. Well, he met Connor Oberst once. Actually, pretty nice guy. That's good. I mean, because I know he is kind of a little bit flaky performance-wise. Like I think he's kind of known for like he's like a Lauryn Hill type, where it's like I don't know if he's going to show up, or like he might just stop the show and leave. But I mean, that's good that he was a nice guy for sure. Let's see what other ratchety things I got going on here. Hold on, put this back. Those hype stickers. I guess we got to show gatefolds these days too. People like a gatefold, I guess. Trippy, man. Psychedelic, bro. Guess so. All right, Dan. Let's see. What is that shit? Ooh. Let's see if they're yes. Yeah. So I mean that's a lot of it, right? So it's you have the Dead Wax and Matrice, all those different things, and a lot of times you would have mastering engineers or producer, whoever, etch their name in there. Sometimes not. It was kind of like different all the way around. But then you got like the famed Led Zeppelin 2 with the RL. If you got a Led Zeppelin 2 original, it's got RL on both sides. You got the hot mix, and it's worth like $1 gazillion more, and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, when I am adding things to Discogs, I will typically check it just to make sure I'm adding the right pressing. Which a lot of times the pressing plan is going to be given out during, through the Dead Wax and all that type of stuff. But I am not one to get into kind of the nitty gritty of like looking deep diving into all that type of stuff. Richard's here. Hey, Richard's Vinyl Tap House. Richard, are you drinking a beer with me tonight? What's going on? I would hope so. It's Saturday night. It's only not even 7:30 where you're at. You got a beer yet? I hope you do. All right. Talking about as he was catching SARS, he smashed his guitar on stage. He was mad because he couldn't finish the whole show. Damn, I didn't even know he had SARS. I haven't even heard of SARS in like 25 years. I probably heard about SARS is probably the last time I heard about anthrax. Yeah. So, okay. I have not heard it. I'm not the biggest Sparks fan. I respect them, appreciate them. They're just not my thing. I know everybody was really loving The Girl Is Crying in Her Latte. I think I remember kind of spot checking that and just being like, it's just not my thing. No disrespect. It just not for me. And then this came out and everybody's like, this might be better. Like all that type of stuff. I love that. Now, here's the thing. I say all that of like, I'm not a Sparks fan. Now, here's the thing. I'm probably not going to buy it just because other people tell me to. Because there's enough music I want to buy that I'm just telling myself to buy. But what I will tell you is that Sparks is coming to Columbus here in, I believe, September. So about 3 months or so. And they're playing a really small theater that I've been to a handful of times. And I am strongly considering going. Because I just feel like that would just, even if I wasn't a huge fan of the band, I just feel like seeing them live would be kind of absurd. Not only that, I feel like they could be one of those acts that I was not really a big fan of, and then I saw them live, and now I'm like, holy shit, these cats are amazing. I could totally see that happening, and so I've not heard it. Thinking about going to see them. If I do, I'm sure I'm going to like it, or I'm going to hate it, whatever sort of thing. And if I see them, I'll end up picking up the album. But if not, I'm not sure. But it sounds like people are loving it, which is amazing. I love that for them. Richard was day drinking, hitting 93. Yeah, it was. It's been pretty steamy and humid here today, and this weekend as well. The Last Hard Man, another one and done. Okay, I'm finished. Oh, you're talking. Okay, I was like, sir, what are you talking about? Okay, you're talking more super groups. That's good. I don't know them either, man. I'm just struggling, man. Sparks are cool, kind of weird. I saw my Sparks albums years ago. I've picked them off slowly, but certainly sell them quick. I keep it moving these days. No, I hear that. I mean, after that documentary, everybody was a Sparks fan, right? Which I guess is the point. Yeah, and now I think I have one Sparks record. I have Indiscreet, I think, from 75. That's the one Sparks album I have. And I remember I bought it because it was like $5. And I was like, that's a pretty good deal. I heard, and I do like that album, right? Like, I think I would probably like the earlier stuff back when I was like, because I like that, like, artsy, glammy, weird, silly shit. Like, I do like that. But I like it in spades. And by in spades, I mean, I like it for the time that it was coming out. I don't know how much I love like 80-year-olds singing The Girl Is Crying in Her Latte with like a synth thing going on. Like, that's just not it's not my bag, man. It's not my bag. That's Todd, thanks for sending. That's a great idea. Richard's Vinyl Tap House. I mean, that's how I got my name for the Beer and Vinyl show. I was so inspired by Richard and his Vinyl Tap House. I was like, I also want to have a beer and vinyl related channel. Oh, there it is. No, Richard's the best, and Richard was one of these guys that it's almost like a pay it forward sort of thing, right? Because a lot of people on YouTube start on YouTube because they started watching all these people, and then those other people like welcome them with open arms, and they weren't gatekeepers, and they weren't assholes, and they weren't trolls, all these different things. And so that was like when I joined YouTube, and then like it was cool to see Richard be somebody who was like in the chats like this or posting comments, and then it was like, Richard, you should start a channel. You should start a channel, like doing the whole thing. And then he starts a channel, and he's just the best. And I will say too, like Richard, one of these people. I wouldn't say this about everybody, but Richard's one of these people where every single time I watch a video of his, I learn something. And it's like these people, I want to say these people blow my fucking mind, because like I'll record a video. And when I say these people, Richard, I record a video, and Richard's got something to say about every album I show. He's like, oh yeah, I remember seeing Rush back in 1999. I remember this. Oh, that's a great album. I remember buying that back, like everything. And I'm like, damn, I thought I was doing some deep cuts. And then I go watch a Richard video, and he's out here. He'll show 5 records. I've never even heard of the people. Like, I've never even heard of them. And that shit blows my mind, because I'm like, there's too much of this shit, man. Too much going on. There's the man. There's my fucking guy. This motherfucker is the guy. Fuck. He bought a new phone, not getting notifications when you go live. That's all right, man. This was a pretty off the cuff thing. So I'm glad you're here, man, and appreciate you as always. You're the best for sure. Sparks Con 75 in Boston became a big fan. Don't pass them up. They're worth seeing. I mean, I might, right? Like they might be one of those bands that's like, I just feel like just the spectacle of the show is going to impact me more positively than listening to like a record would. Hope so. We can't all know everything. That is the beauty of the VC. Damn right. Of course, I just talked about Richard, who apparently knows everything. Hello from the Oregon coast, originally from Ohio. Ever listened to Red, One, and Blue from Columbus? Yeah, that's a throwback, man. They're a cool band for sure. Yeah, and Kenny, I don't know, you might have commented on something when I posted like a record haul when I was my Oregon coast thing, but man, Oregon coast, let me tell y'all, nothing like it. Absolutely nothing like it. But yeah, Red, White, and Blue, they're a super cool band. They play at the Bluestone here every once in a while. I think they might have been just here last year doing that. So super cool band. If you may, well, it's just a man, and then you can check other channels without leaving your live. It helps build like-minded community. I would say so. I don't think anybody could argue with that. Todd, you right as hell. You right as rain. Thanks for the shout out. That's right. It's a boy. Ralph is here. Chills from Wilmington. Miller Lite tonight. Now we're talking Ralph. See, that's what we're talking about. Those who are indulging, let us know what you're sipping on. Wilmington, home of the horses, right? Aren't there horses on the beaches? No, Wilmington, North Carolina. That is home to the great, of course, Dawson's Creek and One Tree Hill. I'm sure Ralph has never been told this before, but for those people who grew up in that era, the late 90s and the early mid 2000s, and loved watching some One Tree Hill and some Dawson's Creek, we know about Wilmington. I know that's right. Hey, speaking of beer, I'm going to go get one. Hold tight. All right. I feel like I have to ask this before I even say, do we have any like nerdy proggers that are watching right now? Like just some people who are like, I love prog. I'm such a nerdy progger. And I'm not talking like I like prog, like I like Rush. Sorry, Richard. But I mean, like we got like nerdy proggers who are like, Keith Emerson is on my, I don't know, whatever Keith Emerson would be on that you have. I'll give about 5 seconds to answer that before I show this next stupid ass record that I forgot I had. All right, good. We have no proggers. That's perfect. I always love these things too. I'm like 15 people watching, like half of them are good. No. Okay, so I will say one of my favorite bands, and yes, I say one of my favorite bands to about 400 bands out there, but I think I'm a huge prog fan. People know that probably at this point. And this is probably, I guess, what they would call like the third wave of progressive rock, or the second wave, or what would ultimately end up serving what was known as neo-prog. So neo-prog referring to specifically like the 80s, really, a lot of UK bands who sort of, sounded like Genesis of 72. Let's put it that way. But one of my favorite bands, and they sort of typified the whole neo-prog thing, of course, is Marillion, probably the most successful of the neo-prog bands. And, the early Marillion stuff, the first 4 albums with Fish on vocals is just fantastic. But I saw this EP single, 12-inch, Market Square Heroes. So this came out, I believe, right before Scripted Jester's Tear, 1983. So I think this came out maybe in 82. Never was released in the U.S. This was UK. I'm not sure if it was UK only, but definitely Europe. Was never here in North America. And it's kind of hilarious because you have side A is Market Square Heroes, and then 3 Boats Down from The Candy. Cool. Market Square Heroes, I believe, ended up on Script for a Jester's Tear. But the B side on this is a classic, like 20-minute long epic called Grendel. And This is also like, this is why people are like, dude, this is why I hate Prague. Like Alex is over here talking about fucking Grendel on his Marillion. And apparently, you know, the story here is that Grendel never ended up on an album ever. I mean, I don't even know if it ended up on like a comp. This is the only place that you can find this like 20-minute long Marillion epic. And of course, everybody hated it at the time. Marillion, when they first hit, were getting mega hated for being too much of a Genesis, Peter Gabriel era Genesis sound alike. Fish was even doing like the whole like face paint thing, like Peter Gabriel was doing. All this type of stuff. I mean, I remember there's like a story of them getting like booed off the stage in 1983. I think they were opening for, God, what is the story? It was something like they were opening for Rush on like, I don't know, maybe like Grace Under Pressure tour or even Power Wind, something like that, and just got like booed off this. Like they were like, this is awful. They had a tough start. Although I do like those records a lot. But apparently the Grendel hits, and never is played live, like ever. No one knows about it, and everybody fucking hates it. And so then, of course, in typical music world, this was 40 years ago, and in 2025 now, all these Marillion fans are like, Grendel is the best thing they've ever done. And I just love that. So I am not one to typically collect. I mean, it is an EP. I do. That was stupid. I do collect EPs, right? Like to me, it's still an album. It's an extended play, not a long play. But it was just hilarious. Look at that album art right there. Hilarious. Yeah, Richard, if you are a Marillion fan, at least you appreciate the story of, I've never actually seen this out there. So yeah, kind of fun, kind of silly, kind of dumb. Yeah, Todd, it is progressive rock. So yeah, Genesis, yes, King Crimson, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, all that type of stuff. What do you think of Dream Theater album Awake? I fucking love it, man. I think Awake's one of their best for sure. There are times, I honestly, and maybe this is unpopular opinion, I prefer Awake over Images and Words. And I love it. Like, that's not saying I don't like Images and Words. I just think Awake is outstanding. It's a darker record. It's a heavier record. It's a better sounding, better produced record. I think there's just a lot more on there that I enjoy about that band than Images and Words. And Images and Words is great. So, yeah, Awake is probably a top 5 Dream Theater record for me. And there's just so much good stuff on there. So much. I mean, the whole suite with Erotomania and Silent Man and all that type of stuff. Voices is one of the best songs they have. I feel like Scarred is another one that's just amazing. And I'm a sucker for Space Divest. I think I love me some Space Divest. So, yeah. Can be Love and Rush. You get into King Crimson. Yeah, I mean, King Crimson's kind of a tough one because they didn't have much of a stable kind of lineup for a lot of years. I mean, obviously they did in like the 80s and that sort of thing, but the King Crimson catalog's tough because it's like, where do you start? Because the 3 records that people would give you to start with might be 3 different eras. Well, I guess it depends, right? To me, I'm like, it's Red, Lark's Tongue, and the debut, but the debut and Lark's Tongues and Red are not, it's different people all around. So yeah, it was cool to see the Beat Tour last year, which was Adrian Belew, Tony Levin, and then Steve Vai and Danny Carey rounding out the band. That was a cool show. Do I have that over here? Oh boy. Oh, I do. Yeah, I don't want to pull it. I had a framed poster over there. I was going to show up that tour, but I don't want to mess that up. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Level 5 is a good song. Oh, for sure. Yeah, Level 5 that's a smoker. Man, it's pretty quiet out there this evening. But I guess that's how it goes. 9:30 on a Saturday. I'm just doing what YouTube says I should do. You know, YouTube is like, your views are good, man. You got a lot going on, man. You should live stream once a week, man. And I'm like, whoa, wow, YouTube. That's cool. So here we are. Back in the day, StreamYard used to be a good deal. I mean, granted, this is still on the free thing, but I believe you could get like the next level of StreamYard that gave you all these different perks and stuff for like $20 a month, maybe. And then they're like, I don't know where they're like, congratulations, this rate is going up to $40 a month. And you're like, I'm not, So now we're on the free. What I'm saying is I can't really marathon stream as much as I once did. Again, for those keeping track, Ohio Light from the Columbus Brewing Co. Their sort of take on a light lager, premium light beer. There's a weird sort of like, it's like a hoppy crackery note that isn't necessarily off-putting, but when I drink something like this, I want it to kind of taste like nothing, right? And like if I wanted like a nice Pilsner or something like that, then I would get that. But like when I drink, like a Coors Light, Bud Light, taste alike. It is what it is. Yes. No, for sure. Absolutely. Richard, I'm going to check your Insta. I'm sending you something. It's clean, people, don't worry. I'm not like sending Richard a dick pic or nothing. Not yet, anyway. Da-ba-ba-bum. Okay. Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, I mean, I know he's done a lot, obviously, over the years. I don't know if he's done anything recently, but also, I mean, he's got to be what? Well, I was going to say he's got to be 80, but no, I mean, I guess when he did Tubular Bells, he was like, wasn't he only like 18 or something? And that was what, 72, 73, 71, something like that. Which I guess makes him only 75 years old, not 80. I don't know. He's up there. I like his stuff though. Although I don't have Hergus Ridge, which feels dirty. I feel like I should have that. I have Tubular Bells. Have Amadon. Don't have the Hergust. Hergust. That's right. Click clack. See, am I competing with anybody? Let's see who else is out there. I don't know if anybody else is. Bill's Box of Sound usually does a stream. Oh, he starts at 10. So Bill's Box of Sound is going in 20 minutes. He's got a great channel, great stream. I would always go watch that over this. Shoot. That's a tough call on a 90. Like if it's 93 degrees, man, you lucky to get me drinking anything other than like I better be able to see through that shit before I start drinking it. All right. Time to show some more records, I guess. That's what we should be doing. Here is a record that's where did I hear about this? I'm curious for the people out there. I was watching Brendan Snyder and Grant Arthur from Grant's Rock Warehouse, who Grant's about 35 minutes north of me. And they did a series, I think it's an ongoing series of like forgotten albums or like weird quirky shit that people should know. Like, it's like one of those series and it's really good. And one of them, I forget who it was, it might have been Brendan Snyder, was talking about this record and how the band, I believe, released an album under the name Russia. And then because of the time period, we're like, okay, maybe this isn't selling too well. It's like Cold War shit. Maybe we should change the name. And so they changed the name to Force 10. and release this record, which this just kind of screams like Rocky Horror Picture Show cover to me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Does anybody know this record? It's, I will say it is pretty freaking awesome. And I don't have the Russia record, but again, it's the same exact band. So it's not like it's like, ooh, it's a reincarnation. It's a different line. No, like apparently it's literally the same band. They just changed their name after their first album because of, socio-political type stuff. Yeah, Tom Brighton on guitar and vocals, Rick White, Larry Tuttle, Jeff Swistak on drums, Griff Stevens singing, woodwinds, guitars, and computer grunts. Sounds pretty fun. I don't know if there's there's not. What are they on? They're on Warner Brothers. So I guess this was probably 70. Oh, wait, no, this was 1981. This is a cool record. And it's like, these are like $4, $5, $6 records. This is not like this like super uber rare thing that's like, y'all gotta go do this. But this is a super cool record. I would highly recommend this for anybody who just likes cool music. I mean, obviously it's quirky. I mean, look at it, but it kind of fits in that 1981 hard rock, kind of AOR, very artsy type thing. So yeah, it's pretty fun. Pretty fun indeed. Let's see. Any new coal mine titles rocking the world at the moment? I'm loving the M. Ross. M. Ross is great. It is great. As Bowie would tell us, Leroy Conroy's Dead Bill's next coal mine release in July. Coal mine adjacent though. When does Duran Jones and the Indications come out? Is that this coming Friday? Which means like a week? It's 6 days? I have the coal mine exclusive of that on the way, which sold out, which was, cool. I mean, it's a store exclusive, but I'm really looking forward to that, and I know you are too, brother. Yeah, Force 10, they're cool, man. Be on the lookout for that record. Again, like, it's not rare, it's not expensive, but it's just one of those things of like, who be talking about that? People have done a thread similar to this. Is like, I need a record or like a video of like, records just kind of like blew my fucking mind. Again, I know people have done this. Speaking of Prague, was it George Pryor, who's a channel out of the UK? Great channel. He's a Prague guy. Mentioned this record. This is a cheap record. This is a $5 to $10 record, and this is one of the best, most out there. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just brilliant. This is just a brilliant record from 1974 on ABC. The band is Carmen. The record is Fandangos in Space. The UK cover was different on this. It was actually pretty cool. This is also kind of cool with the flower, but the UK cover is fucking dope. Carmen was, I believe, so they had this really cool mix of like 70s, early 70s progressive rock, but then like mixed in like flamenco style type stuff, like a lot of like Latin stuff. I think there's even a little bit of like Spanish singing on this. But then like the whole album is sort of like laid out in like these suites, and it's very conceptual. You got female vocals on some of the stuff. This, again, for like a $5 to $10 record, like that is worth picking up, that like I don't see or hear anybody talking about. This album is bananas. Like, I don't even know. Like, the whole time like listening to this, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, in the best way, right? I mean, it's so cool. The blending of genres and styles and the stuff they're doing, it's going back and forth from all this different type of stuff. Nobody else sounds like this. I think that's kind of the cool thing, is that nobody else sounds like this band does. That's the best joke of the night right there. Fandangos in space. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, but there you go. Here's a cool little gatefold, whatever that's worth to you. This is a cool record. I don't know if anybody knows this record either, but sick record, man. Sick record. while we're on the showing random ass records train, let's see what's next down here. Oh boy. All right, let's go to Germany. We love going to Germany with some German progressive hard rock and the US version of the debut album from Birth Control, which this is called just Birth Control, a new German rock group. What was this on? PRS? What was that? Yeah, how many times have you seen this label, right? Prophecy Records. That's a label for you. So, yeah, Birth Control, German hard rock, progressive rock band. They kind of fall in that second, third tier of prog, which at this point is kind of the stuff I'm into, to be honest with you. Really cool band, great stuff. Expensive-ish record. I mean, to find this type of stuff, it's rare. But again, I think like the UK version or the German version. I don't even know if it was UK. It might have just been came out in Germany the first time. Then this was the US version here. Again, on Prophecy Records, which I guess might be a subsidiary of Bell. At least that's what the back says. Look at that little guy bugging out. Birth Control, super cool band. Great stuff. And Under Control. Let's see what else we got going on. Fandangos in Space. I'm looking for the story of people with the brother. Oh, interesting. I don't know if I know that one, sir. Yeah. That's right. I totally forgot about it. I totally forgot about the Durand Jones stuff, but he'll be here. Or I guess, I say he as if it's just him. Like the whole band will be here, I think in October. I'm really excited for that because I saw Durand Jones last summer. About a year ago. And he was great, but it wasn't with the Indications. It was him solo with a different band. And so I'm excited to see, the Aaron and Steve and all those guys, and they just rip. So I'm excited for that big time. Unless you're going into lots of obscure 60s, 70s stuff lately, not easy to find, but fun to try. Yeah, I mean, this is not made to sound, unhumble, but it's like that's the stuff that I just don't have. You know what I mean? Like I have, at least of like the old stuff, right? Like I have, especially in like prog and like hard rock world, right? Like I have all of those. I have all the Gentle Giant records. I have like all those. And so to me, it's always about like just finding that next level. And they are difficult to find, or they're expensive, or they weren't even released here and they have to find an import and all that type of stuff. So, yeah. Well, good luck with that. I mean, I think he pretty much only tours in this area. I think, because here's the thing with him is he, like the music thing is not his bill paying job. We'll put it that way. So I mean, he's a full-time employee. He's got a whole 9 to 5 basically, and so I think his touring is basically Dayton, Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, maybe over to Toledo, maybe Indianapolis, maybe like that this sort of area around here. But I mean, that'd be cool if he was able to get out and do some more touring. There's a lot of good coal mine tours coming. Say She is going to be here this summer, I think. Looking forward to that. Really looking forward to Neil Francis. They're going to be here. He'll be here, which I love me some Neil Francis. That to me is going to be such a killer live show that I cannot wait for. Yeah. Durand Jones, the Indications will be in Denver in October. I'm debating whether I want to go too, but they're decently more famous now, and that means the ticket costs more. I got 3 kids. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like they're playing the Newport here, which is, a historic venue. It's not the biggest place, but I mean, heck, most, coal mine artists I see are playing, places of, anywhere from 50 people to maybe 200 people. Newport is 5 times that big. So they definitely, kind of have, between, even like Monophonics, I don't even think would pull that. Um, yeah, I mean, between Duran Jones and kind of like the Black Pumas, I feel like, those were like the people that really got pretty damn big from the coal mine world. So, um, yeah. Well, hey, Tater Hater. Who would hate taters? I don't know, man. I feel like that's just someone trying to pick some fights. But we're glad you're here. A few concerts you want to go to, but you'd have to dig them up. Well, whatever you remember, you can share it. You know, there's that. Let's see what else have we got over here. Any other things? Okay, I'm going to pressure test this to you fine people, because I don't know the way to do it. Well, I'm just going to do it because I think it's hilarious, but I'm going to pressure test it here. So there's a quote. I heard it was like attributed to Bob Dylan, but I don't know if it actually was. But basically, it's something along the lines of like, you don't need to be a murderer to write a murder ballad, or like to like a murder ballad, like it's something like that, right? And so recently this got me thinking, because there's an album that came out this year that is, I don't know if it's my album of the year, but it's definitely going to be a top 10. And so I was sitting here thinking, okay, I love this album. I love it a lot. And Jesus Christ, literally, that pun is intended. It might be a worship record. Okay, so those who know me, or if you don't know me, shocker, I'm not a very religious and or spiritual guy. Not at all, actually. No disrespect for those who are. I love that journey for you. In fact, that to me is the beauty of religion, is that it is a personal relationship between you and whoever you believe in, right? But it is not my thing. However, one of my favorite artists of all time became a huge like born again Christian back in like 2000 after some like life shit happened, and then he just started releasing all this Christian music. But then it was like Christian progressive music, and so I found myself, I'm like, dang, like I really like this music. Like the music's great, the harmonies are great, the guitar player is amazing. Like all these things are so good. And then I'm like, oh my God, the guy just is talking about Jesus like the whole time, right? So the person I'm talking about is Neil Morse. I don't know if anybody knows who Neil Morse is, but he was a member of Spock's Beard. He's done a whole bunch of stuff with Mike Portnoy, all these different things. But he releases a record this year under a new band name, Supergroup, back on the Supergroup thing, called Cosmic Cathedral, which I think is a pretty sick name, to be honest with you. Cosmic Cathedral, and this is Deep Water. Okay. So here's your supergroup. You have Neil Morse on guitar, Ohio's own, all the way from Youngstown, Ohio, and is the leader, I guess they're still around, of Glass Harp. Try that record around here somewhere. Glass Harp, Phil Keaggy. Now, Phil Keaggy, for those who know, was a Glass Harp guy through like the early 70s. And then he found Jesus big time. And over the last like 55 years, he's been doing Jesus guitar music, which is amazing. But he's very, very Jesus focused now. Now, the one that I did not know about was Chester Thompson, the great drummer who's played with Frank Zappa, who's played with Genesis. He's played with all these people. I think he was in Weather Report. Chester Thompson. I had no idea that he himself, big Christian, right? And then Byron House, who's playing bass, who's I think is like a studio cat who's played with like everybody and their Holy Mother, right? So played with everybody. So you kind of got the idea that they were putting together like this like Christian centric project. And I think they started doing some interviews where people were like, yeah, tell us about the writing process. And they would just like start the interview with like, well, you could tell like God was in the space and we felt him and it was great, right? And so I play this, and in typical like Neil Morse fashion, at this point you kind of know what you're going to get. You're going to get like 45-minute long songs. You're going to get great hooks, and you're going to get some stuff that you've probably heard a bunch of times, but it's still really, really good. The point is that I'm making here, and I'm going to have to find a way to make this into a video that doesn't offend everybody, is that this is one of my favorite albums of the year. I've played this so much. It's incredible. The musicianship is amazing. Just everything is so good. And I'm like singing along to it, and I'm catching myself because I'm like, thank you, Jesus. And it's just bizarre because that is not me. But anyways, That would be blabbing about that. That's my pressure test here. Appreciate y'all. Yes. All right, we're checking back here. All the different things. What's up, y'all? Few concerts, thoughts. Okay. Thoughts on Big Head Todd and the Monsters. Sauce Mashing coming in at the Newport in the night. See? Oh man. That would have been a sick show. Yeah, I mean the Newport, they do pride themselves on being like the longest standing rock club in the country. They've been around since like 1910 or something. I know Big Head Todd the Monsters. I don't think I've ever listened to a note of Big Head Todd the Monsters. I couldn't tell you the difference between Big Head Todd the Monsters and Toad the Wet Sprocket. Actually, I probably could, but you know what I mean. I don't know anything about Big Head Todd. Pulp is coming to Red Rocks. A bit pricey, but I'm hearing good things about the new album. Yeah, a lot of people were talking about Pulp. I don't even know what kind of music it is. Help me. What is Pulp? Pulp. Tater highly recommends Louis Armstrong, the jazz musician and singer. I mean, I think that's a great idea. Unfortunately, I still have not seen, what is it, Becoming Led Zeppelin or Being Led Zeppelin or whatever it's called. I've not seen it yet, but it definitely want to. I was just playing earlier this evening the Black Crowes Jimmy Page live record. It's really great. Kind of love that. Black Keys and Hermanos Gutierrez were just in Springs. Birthday Man, unfortunately, couldn't go. Hermanos Gutierrez, that's another group you probably be able to help me out. I've heard so many people talk about. I don't know anything about. That's kind of my problem. I talk about this all the time. Like, I'm really like a soul neophyte in so many ways, and just got kind of into it through Coal Mine. But like so many of these like contemporary soul artists, I'm like, I don't know shit about these people. And I probably should, but it's hard to keep up. You know, it's like it's just too much to keep up on, especially because 99% of the music I listen to is on vinyl. So I don't, yes, I spot check. Yes, I stream here and there, but only in certain situations. So if I'm flying, if I'm on a fucking airplane, I'm going to be streaming music. But if I'm home, I'm going to be listening to a record. And I'm home 90% of the time. So like, it's just one of those things. Like, it's just tough to continue to manage that. New venue service, smaller version of Fiddler's Green. Okay, yeah, they're talking about some venues out there in Colorado. Yeah, it's true. Oh, this motherfucker. Oh, he coming out of nowhere. All right, Vance, you want to come on here, man? I need you to come on here and tell me all about it, man. I haven't spoken and hung out with you in a long time. Hey, you know what? You're just like my fucking. You're just like my mom, you know? She was disappointed in me too, Vance. And you know what? She's gone now. Okay? So how about that? Love you, buddy. Miss you, buddy. Come hang out. UK all indie that made it bigger in the UK and the US. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, there's just so much, to keep up on. Like, see this Pulp stuff. I know a lot of people were talking about the most recent Stereolab record. It's just I say it's too much. It's not too much. It's great, right? It's great. I think there is this weird, and I fall into this, I'm owning this, right? I think there is like this expectation with sometimes like people on YouTube or like music reviewers or whoever they are, that they have to be open and into everything. Giggity. Like, that's a good thing, right? I think we all appreciate people who are open-minded and are into a lot of different types of music and all that type of stuff. However, that has almost become like this expectation that it's like people are supposed to go from like the latest death metal record to a Taylor Swift record to a Pulp record to a Black Keys record, like so forth and so on, right? And so like, when I say like there's too much, I say that of like personally of like, damn, I like all this stuff and I wish I could listen to all this stuff or buy all this stuff. But it's hard too, because the reality is I have 3,000 records that I want to listen to. And so exploring new music is tough because when do I have to make the conscious decision to not listen to a record and instead stream music. So, maybe if I like traveled more, like if I was on more airplanes, if I was in the car more, like that to me is like the perfect time for that type of stuff. But it's hard. I mean, there are people who are like, man, I would love your thoughts on this. Like, let me know what you think on this, all this type of stuff. And I'm like, I would love to give it. But the reality is like, I want to listen to what, just because it's like the topic du jour, right? Like I want to listen to my Nick Cave records. I'm obsessed with Nick Cave right now. I don't want to go listen to Stereolab or Pulp, like all these different things. Like I want to listen to my Coal Mine stuff, like whatever that is. So it's just, yeah, it's out there. Latin version of the Ironsides in a way. Oh, now you've got me. That sounds pretty damn good. Now you good, brother. I know. I just need to go see it. Is it streaming somewhere yet? Because I know you saw it in theaters like 600 times, but is it like once it's streamed somewhere, I'll be good. That's true. I mean, it's just a ton. Well, especially, I mean, you're the same way of like when you like a little bit of everything. Like that's where I kind of not jealous because it's very rewarding to be into so much different stuff. But sometimes I do wish like, Alex, what if you were just like a prog guy? Like you do the prog tag. A lot of people associate prog with you, like a lot of stuff. What if you just did that? And I'm like, I can't do that. Because I don't like a lot of it. I think that's actually kind of one of the maybe a misunderstanding. I actually don't like that much contemporary stuff. I think it's really, really cheesy and the vocals turn me off a lot. Now, some stuff I love, but it's tough when it's like, no, I love soul music and I love funk music and I love indie and I love shoegaze or I love dream pop and I love metal and I love prog and I love pop. Like there's no, and then I love jazz. I mean, shit, just being a jazz fan is impossible anymore. Yeah, man, that sounds good to me. You got me. What's that? Was the record they had last year, the year before that was like everybody was talking about it? Just tell me what to buy. Just tell me what to buy. That's all I ask. Oh, hey, while you're here, sir, let me go get something for you. Oh my, okay. All right, my guy. I just feel bad. We're calling him Bowie. Mr. Aguilar. Can you see that? How sick is that, mon frere? Oh man, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I mean, what I should do is just send it to you because you would get a lot out of it. But I dropped $150 fucking dollars on this. That's right. I dropped $150 on a Coal Mine 45 a couple of like weeks ago because I'm a clown. But it was for a good cause, as they say, right? So yeah, we'll go with that. But oh boy, yeah. So for those who don't know, which is probably all of you, Coal Mine did. Rob, what's up, brother? Rob, if you want to hang out, you want a link, you let me know. I'll send you the link. It'd be good to have you up here joining me, especially if you got some of that ass tea. We got to work something out. Okay, so for those who don't know, which is most people, I'm sure, Coal Mine, they did this 45 release several weeks ago, if not like a month or so ago at this point, where they had found like 30 copies of this special 45 they did for the Sinceres Wax Mage variant, which is this pretty sick like artwork scheme here. So it was like found in like a warehouse or something when they were prepping for one of their warehouse sales. And so they worked with the Sinceres and then decided, all right, you know what? Like, let's auction these, or let's auction 3 of these, and then let's put up like 25 or whatever for sale. And all the money from both the auction and from the sale was going to go to charity, right? So it wasn't like going to the label, it wasn't even going to the artist, it was going to charity. And they like kind of pimped out this thing. Like they sent out an email, they were sending out Instagram messages that was like, watch this space. Like, you're going to want to be subscribed to our emails. You want to go, like, oh, they were really, really churching the shit up. And finally it dropped. And I didn't even look at it. I did not even look at it. I just saw it was there and it was $150. And I was like, shit, click on it. And then afterwards I looked at it. I was like, did you just drop $150 fucking dollars on a 45? That's, that's special. That's great. And it was to charity. So there's that. But the ones that sold, so it was like 20 or 25 were for sale for $150. Those sold out pretty much immediately. Then they put up 3 for auction on eBay. Each of those on eBay, I believe, sold for something around $700 to $750. So I'm sitting here on this thing like, what do I do with this, right? Like, I don't even know. Like, I certainly don't want to flip it. I'm the coal mine fucking hoe. I can't be out here with coal mine and being like, oh, I'm flipping your shit. Especially that was, to be fair though, I did pay for it with a donation, like, all that sort of thing. The point is, this is probably theoretically the most valuable thing in my collection, although it has not sold since then. But yeah, those auctions, they went for like $700 and some fucking dollars on that, which is pretty redonkulous. Sick, Rob. I'm sending to your email, my brother. Join me, boner. All right, boom. It said it's been a while. Okay. So yeah. I look, I'd love to, man, but it's a little wild right now. Yeah, I'm very much in the same boat. Everyone says you've got to get XYZ. I can't believe you don't have all the time. It's tough. Look, we're crying on the yacht, right? Like, ultimately, like, we're music fans, we're music collectors. The other reality too, Richard, I don't know if you have this, is that, not comparing ourselves to a critic or anything like that, but you look at like two things. Critics and or journalists, which has now made its way to YouTube, is that if they are influencers, if they are people who make videos that people watch and listen to, labels are going to send them stuff the same way that they would send them to radio stations back in the day, right? Like, that is the idea, is that the label, the artist will send you something, you're going to review it, your people are going to watch you review it, and then make a decision to buy it after that. And so, that is great. It's additional work, because a lot of times it means that you're like reviewing a bunch of music, and if you're not a music reviewer, that gets complicated. But at least people are sending you stuff, which means you're not making an investment. You're not spending money to get that record. Or the other thing too is, like, you get people like, I don't know, say like Anthony Fantana or whatever. Like, if you were just a music streamer, then you could listen to whatever you wanted to, whenever you wanted to. But I think for us, and I don't mean to speak for you, but when your primary way of listening is physical media, whether that's CDs, vinyl, cassettes, whatever, when that is your primary way of listening to music, it implies that to listen to something, you have to own it, which means you have to buy it. And then it becomes, well, what do I want to buy versus what do I just want to like? Which, shit, if any of us could figure that out, good luck. But yeah, this is me venting. Sincere's Mono Fox, top tier. So that 45 would be pretty special to me. Tack on 25. You'll make a profit on me. Oh, man. I don't know, man. We'll see. I don't know. You've been great, though. Don't keep doing this. The more beer I drink, the worse it's going to be for me. Shit, the way I'm drinking tonight, I'll be paying you for you to have the record. Shit. Rob, should be in your inbox. If it's not, it might be in junk or spam or spunk. It's probably in spunk. Hope it's not in spunk. What else is going on tonight, people? It's almost time for another beer. What do you think? I know I just showed this. Y'all got to listen to this record, man. This record is fucking wild. I'm just saying, listen to this record. It's silly, kittens. Well, well, well. Look what the Canadian dragged in.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. You had yourself a day, huh?
Oh, we had a day. Did we ever?
Oh, man.
Records and buddies and meat. What more could you need?
Oh, that's right. You did barbecue, right?
Oh, yeah, we went to a smokehouse after that. It was great.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
Oh,
Yeah, you were with Brian and Mike, yeah?
Brian and Mike, yep.
That's a good team right there.
It's a good team. There'll be a video tomorrow highlighting our escapades.
I can't wait for that. Yeah, I was wondering. I figured I didn't get a Friday cheers from Mike, so I figured he was out of town or something. So,
yeah, his in-laws live in the same town as me, so
Right.
they're coming up for a family reunion. And so he calls me on like Tuesday, and he goes, "Hey, I'm gonna be in town on Thursday and Friday and Saturday." He goes, "You want to go record shopping?" I go, "That's a dumb question."
that's a dumb question, of course.
He goes, "You think we should invite Brian?" I go, "Absolutely, we should invite Brian." So we called Brian and said, "Hey, you want to make the trek here? Because it's about an hour for Brian." He's like, "I'll be there." We had met at Mike's in-laws, and then we drove to the next city over and went to some record stores and had some fun.
I was gonna say, so what would be because I know Brian's obviously coming from Toronto. What would be the
Toronto.
next city over that you went to?
We went over to Kitchener, Ontario.
The Kitchener, okay.
So it was good. There's two record stores like a block away from each other, like literally around the corner. And one of them is a big store that's tons of CDs, and a third of the store is vinyl, and it's all new.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty good. You want new vinyl, that's where you go.
Right.
And then you go to the one around the corner, which is kind of like a hole in the wall, and it's owned by like, if there was a stereotype of the stoner hippie, this is the guy. This is the fucking guy. You walk in there and like you start coughing because the pot smoke is just
Hell yeah.
right. Not my thing, but I still enjoy the record store there.
Right.
And he's got like a bunch of new stuff in the middle, and then his whole back wall is all good used stuff. But the problem is, it's like a bookshelf.
Oh,
so
interesting.
You got to flip through it, or you got to read the spines, and it's hard to go through his used stuff. And then he's got the cheap used stuff and bins on the floor and bins outside in a fucking tent. And so you go from the properly priced used stuff on the back wall to the bargain used stuff on the floor to the I might as well just throw this shit in the garbage outside.
Right. I feel like,
but surprisingly, we all bought shit from the shit that was outside. I bought 3.
Oh, you got some bargain stuff?
Fuck yeah.
That's
awesome. Yeah. It was great. So we had a lot of fun.
I feel like though, because I've seen some like I think I remember hearing you talk about that because I remember the whole like they stack it this way, which I get it. It's a space constraint, right? It's not like it's not like that's a choice, but I feel like, and I understand people don't want to put shit on the ground, but I would put the cheap bargain shit up in that way and then put the other stuff, at least make it easier for people to go through.
Right. Yeah, it's I mean, it's like I got my Calax shelves here. It's kind of like that, but picture that,
like
8 feet tall, and it's the entire back wall of a store.
Yeah,
and it's just
your neck starts hurting in ways you didn't know it could.
That's exactly it. So I didn't buy anything off. I bought one new one there, and then I bought some like out of the $3 bins out front underneath the friggin' tent.
Yeah.
So
I did buy. I snagged that Dirty Honey.
This one.
That's the one.
I was shocked, right? So like the first place we went to. There you go.
Look at that.
Mayhem and Rivalry, Dirty Honey Live. So the first place we went to, it's all new, and all the bins are sorted like, it's A through Z, but within each one, there's like, 20 different tags. So you like, whatever else starts with D, Depeche Mode and fucking whatever. And I'm flipping through there, and he actually had a section for Dirty Honey. I'm like, get out of town. And so the first thing that I saw in the Dirty Honey section was
Yeah,
this, which I still didn't have. I still haven't picked it up yet because
okay, yeah.
I didn't want to pay shipping and whatever. So I'm like, I'm
Right.
going to find it eventually. So I was like, yeah, $28. That's reasonable for a record here because their records here are stupid expensive. And then right behind it, I see this. And I'm like, I didn't even know they had a live record. So, and it was even cheaper. It's 2 LP and it was $24. And I go,
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, because I saw the price and I was like, well, that's a good price for a Canadian record. And then I just made the assumption. I was like, well, they're early in their career. Maybe they don't have 2 live albums worth. And I was like, oh, probably a single LP. And you're like, oh, it's a double. And I was like, so I bought it. It was 20. I say it's only 20 here, but
right.
a $5 difference is rare.
Sure.
Usually, if you pay 25, I'm paying 8.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
but, yeah.
I have not spun it yet, so I can't tell you if it's any good. I would assume it's probably black vinyl. I don't know. I haven't even opened it yet. Let's open it right now.
Yeah, I think for Can't Find the Breaks, they did a black one, and then they have a white one. And white one might have been indie exclusive, like indie store, but
I think I remember reading that. Yeah.
hey, while you do that, I'm going to need a beer.
Well, you should go get a beer. I'll keep everyone entertained with the shrink wrap removal. This is high rating stuff here, folks. I'm about to rip some shrink wrap off. I better wait for Alex, though, because, you know. Richard, I see your comment there about my shirt. And, yeah, I'm wearing this for Joe, of course, because Joe's a big fan. So, also, it was laundry day. So, all right.
It's Saturday. Yeah, let's see it.
Okay, here we go. I want to make Northern Revolution shirts that say "grip it and rip it" and show like shrink wrap being ripped off.
All right, hold on. Before you do that, sir. Now, I have no beef with the removal of the shrink wrap.
Right.
I think I'm probably similar to Brian. If you've heard, Brian talk about what he does with shrink wrap, it's like if it's a gatefold, absolutely, like all this kind of stuff. But you don't even keep the hype sticker though. Like you don't cut it out and put it in the sleeve or anything.
On rare occasions,
Okay.
will I keep this one? There isn't one on here, so no. I very, very rarely.
Oh, I thought that.
Oh, that's right on the cover.
I thought that was a sticker. Okay, cool.
No, it's
Well,
like a backstage pass right on the cover.
rip that shit off.
All right, ready? Grip it and rip it.
Yeah. Now wrap it around your face and breathe hard.
Heavy breather, line one.
That's right.
So we got on the inside. Well, this is it. Look at that. It's giving you the bird. Look at that.
Is that just a insert,
the
or is that where
sleeve.
the record is in there?
That's the sleeve. There's what's it? That's playing guitar. It's on black vinyl.
Yep.
And it looks like the
Yeah, I don't even know what the label is right these days that they're on. Dirt Records or
Dirt Records. Yeah.
okay.
But it's kind of a custom label. It's made to look like made to look like the sort of the backstage pass that gets the sticker goes on your shirt or whatever. I got a beef, man. So this is these like a photographic inner sleeve.
Yep.
So goddamn tight to get the record out, and they got the static on, and I'm just like, I mean, I'm a inner sleeve guy for obvious reasons, but these are just such a pain in the ass to get the record.
And when you pull the record out, you can just you could hear and feel it rub.
Yes, and you're like, cringe.
Yep.
So yeah, can't wait to listen to that. And that was fun to rip the shrink wrap off. I don't get people to keep the shrink wrap on. And you know what? They're your records. Do whatever the hell you want. But it's like shrink wrap shrinks over time, and it could actually bend and warp things. And I want to experience the record. It's like your grandma's couch in the 80s that was wrapped in plastic. I don't want to sit on plastic. I want to sit on the fucking couch. So rip the goddamn shrink wrap off and touch the thing with your hands.
And I hope this isn't, well, it might be a British term. Of course, grandma's couch in the 80s was called a Davenport.
Not in Canada. We called them Chesterfields.
Oh, it was a Chester. Yeah, Davenport might be more of a British
You should
American.
change the thing so I'm not so large anymore. I
Oh
don't
well,
wanna be-
that's
I don't wanna be big anymore.
sorry,
There you
I don't do this much anymore, Rob.
I know
I'm out
you're
here.
out of practice.
I'm out here like Chris Mann, He's fat. He's fat. He's fast, drunk, and asleep at this point.
Absolutely.
Well, it's funny you're showing. I had to go get the. This is actually meaningful because it's kind of where it all began for us, right?
Right.
Was picking this up, but this is when I saw them.
You got the signed one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it was kind of cool because it wasn't like I just bought a signed one. They performed like an in-store
Right.
here at one of the record stores, and so it was cool to just buy it, have them sign it, on site or whatever. But yeah, cool band. They'll be back here, I think, in the fall, playing with. They're opening for the Struts.
Oh yeah.
Who I think are kind of actually the first time I heard about the Struts. Who's a big fan of the Struts is Joe Elliott.
Really?
He's like, they're a new band that I'm just in love with. He doesn't talk like that, but
Right.
but I think kind of like new band that has like this whole like throwback sort of same thing, like this 80s hard rock, snarly rock sort of thing.
Love it.
That could be a cool little double bill.
Yeah,
for sure.
I missed these guys when they were here like, I don't know, 6 months ago.
Oh yeah.
And they played in Waterloo, Ontario. Had a nice little concert venue, it's not a bar, but it's not a theater. It's like it's purposely
it's a club.
Sure, there you go.
Yeah.
And I missed it because I was otherwise busy or something, and I kicked myself for not finding a way to get there. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
They were a good time, man. When I saw them, great. I mean, they're one of those bands, right? They sound great, but it's like they're like a live band. You know what I mean? So much energy and just great band. So
I hear bands like that, and it gives me a little bit of hope that rock and roll is still out there somewhere.
Here's like one of my like philosophical gripes, right? Is that we know that like rock and roll's still out there, but then when like if and when that rock and roll band hits, it's not going to be the rock and roll we want.
True.
And so it's like I'm trying to think, what artist do I want to like poke bullshit at? Well, okay, we saw this actually a lot, and I like these guys a lot, but one of my favorite things was like listening to a lot of these boomers like lose their fucking minds about all they do is there's no good music anymore, and no music was made after 1984, like all this kind of stuff, right? And then you're like, here's a list of these awesome bands that are killing it, and they're like, no, they're just copycats and sound alikes. And that was what we had with like Greta Van Fleet, right?
I don't like Greta Van Fleet, but I get your point.
But it was like one of those things of like, this is what you all have been asking for.
Right.
And then it's like, no, it's like, we want the rock, but we don't want that kind of rock,
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Well, it's nice to sympathize with all the old men. I'm the first person to be like, get off my lawn.
Right.
But there's lots of great music being made, and there's lots of great rock being made. The problem is it doesn't get heard.
Yeah.
That's the shitty part.
Yeah.
You listen to the radio or you watch TV, and it's just this overproduced fucking pop shit.
Yeah.
There's no instruments. There's no musicians. I know I sound like a 70-year-old man, but you don't see this. You don't see much of this shit anymore. But it's still out there. It's just it doesn't reach the masses like it probably should.
And then it's like you have, because I think honestly the first time I heard Dirty Honey was on like classic rock FM radio that does like they do like the 420 happy hour where they play like one new-ish song one time a day at 420. Right. And you're like, oh, cool. Glad I was tuned in at this exact time to hear that song at this point. And then they'll come back and be like, and now we're back to, Sweet Home Alabama for the 9 millionth time today. And you're like, yeah, okay, cool. I've never heard that before.
For me, the weird thing about Dirty Honey is I don't remember the first time I heard them. I don't remember where, what, how, why. I just remember somehow something triggered me to order the album. Like, I don't remember the first time I heard them. I have no idea. But obviously, I probably saw something on YouTube, maybe. I don't know.
Actually, you know what? I know one of the early times was on the radio. The other time, and I shot in the dark, maybe it was for you. They, I think it was for one of the Winter Classics, NHL. They did like a live performance sort of like thing, doing a cover of "Let's Go Crazy" by Prince.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And it wasn't like a live performance. It was like a video spot, right? It was kind of like one of those like promotional things. But I was like, remember watching that, and I was like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, what is going on? Like, what in the nasty LA like sleazy rock and roll is this?
Yep, love it.
Look, I'm a Greta Van Fleet fan. I'll say that, and it's not for everybody, but the point of that was just like, there's a lot of great stuff out there. It's just a matter of, I think that's the reality too, is that here's the other deep thinking question. That's what we do here, Rob. We ask these deep questions.
What we do
is like, do people actually genuinely believe that no good music is out there or all this type of stuff? Or is the reality is that 99% of, like, we already know that 90% of people, the music they listen to, they just want to hear what's on the top 40 radio, right? Like that's the normal, like, average person, whatever.
Yep.
And I think the same way for rock and roll fans or whatever, the average normal rock and roll fan typically just doesn't want to listen to anything other than what they've always listened to. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think they like hide it behind this, like, there's no good music and like that sort of thing. And it's like, but then when you present it of like, oh, there is, like, here's all this stuff, here's where to search it out. They all, not all of them, a lot of them say the same thing with like something along the lines of like, oh, it's good, but this doesn't really mean anything to me.
Right.
Because what means something to me is what I grew up listening to in 1975, which is great. And, you can own that and just say, like, music means a lot to me based on where I was at in my life. And I listened to Born to Run 400 times in 1975, and I'm never going to hear anything that's like that again.
Right.
So, it's just interesting because I don't think that's always the thing. They're like, here's all the other stuff that's coming out this year. And they're like, oh, yeah, but. And the worst thing you can do is make a comparison, even by saying, I try not to compare, but I do like to do the thing of like, if you like this, then you might like that.
Right.
But the worst thing you can do is that sometimes, because then people are just going to compare that to what they liked this. And so we learned this with like, I remember, Sam and I are both huge fans of like the Lemon Twigs, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, like if you like Beach Boys and you like the Beatles, you like all this stuff, and then people are like, this doesn't sound like Abbey Road, and you're like, yeah, no fucking shit, it doesn't sound like Abbey Road,
right? Well, but I mean, I think that's the only frame of reference we have on this platform, right? Because you can't play any music because the YouTube copyright police are going to spank your ass. So we can't share the music. So the only thing we could do when we're talking about, when I'm talking about this record that no one's heard, how do you what's your frame of reference? Well, this is 70s throwback rock, and it kind of sounds like, right? I mean, that's the only frame of reference, because people know when you say it kind of sounds like, like to me, that this isn't 70s. This kind of, there's some Black Crowes influences in here. There's some of that 80s, rock that we all love. It sounds like that stuff.
Yeah.
So does it? Yes. Is it its own thing? Yes. But I can't play you any of it. So the best I can do for the people that are watching is to say, it kind of sounds like this. Or if you like this, that's the only frame of reference we have.
Right.
So
that's actually, what's funny though, specifically about Dirty Honey, I've never connected the Black Crowes, but that's a great call out. I think big time. I've always been like, I've always used like, it's sleazy LA rock, right? So like,
it
is to me, it's early Aerosmith 50 years later.
Sure. Absolutely.
And you could argue that early Aerosmith 15 years later was Guns N' Roses, and there's a ton of like that, again, just like that sleazy LA rock and roll, right? But yeah, I mean, that's great stuff. But where is somebody going to get exposed to that? The quote unquote normal, the casual person, right?
Right. Right.
No one can worse it. Old label. Yeah, you were mentioning that for the old label mates with Kendra. I remember that. That's right. That was like the funkier stuff you were talking about, right, man? Oh, I'm sure there's a ton of they are very tongue in cheek, but
what
not
rock isn't these days?
yeah.
Right?
There's a lot there. Yeah. Scott's in the house. Good to see you, my
There he
friend.
is. Hey, Scott, how you doing, man?
Heck yeah, man. That's a great day right there. It was great to. I was about to say not to get political, but look in 2020. Look, here's my thing, Rob. I'm gonna tell you this, and you can say, you're on my channel now, so say whatever the fuck you want. Like in 2025, as we have World War III starting across the way. As we have threatened our northern neighbors with like taking away their sovereignty, and as we are putting people in cages simply because they're brown and we disagree with them, among other things, like to say I don't want to get political in 2025,
you have to.
That is a political statement in itself.
Yep,
like
it is.
You might as well, when someone tells me I don't want to get political. What I'm actually hearing is that they agree with all this fucking shit going on. So, Scott, I'm proud of you, man. It was great to see the protests out there. And just saw a ton, and it looked like the whole fascist parade that was going on in DC looked pretty miserable. So I
don't comment on the stuff, not because I don't agree. I don't agree.
No,
but
for sure.
I also I tread the line of partly my channel's to talk about music. So, but the other thing is I don't feel that is my place necessarily to make a comment on American politics because I'm not an American, nor do I live in America. So,
sure.
Maybe it's naive to say not my business because it does affect everyone in the entire world. And I also am employed. I have American employers, and I have to travel to the United States from time to time. So I keep my mouth shut. But my shut mouth is not a sign of pacifism or whatever. It's just I know the time and the place to express those opinions. But Scott, hats off to you, sir, man. Absolutely, I would do the same thing if I were there.
No, that's a great point. It's funny. It's like why I probably go on here and ramble. This is like which is where it gets complicated when you have personal relationships with people that you meet on YouTube, and then it's like, would I be friends with these people if I didn't know them on like all these different things? But for me, it's like I'm not really in a position to share what I think, similar to what you just said, on like social media,
right?
Different things because of things like my employer, because like what I have to say, because my thing too is like if I'm going to say something, I'm not going to have it like watered down, you know. So like I'm not gonna be the person that's like, well, I just wish we could all get along and kumbaya. Like I'm like, no, like fuck the Nazis, like that sort of thing. And so I know like because my employers and like people I work with they're all over social media, and I have said things before that people have like reported.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, it's like not that I got in trouble for it, but very clearly it's like frowned upon.
So, so that's part of it. Now, when the whole 51st state horseshit started up,
yep.
Let me first of all say that is highly, highly, highly offensive for a million different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And that fired up a lot of people here and made a lot of people really angry, myself included.
Yep.
There has been for the last 3 months a massive boycott of American products.
Yep.
I will not buy anything at the grocery store that is American. You go into our grocery store, and everything that is Canadian in every grocery store is a Canadian flag on the shelf. And you'll see thousands of them in the aisle. The American products, no one touches them. The Canadian products are almost sold out because we're like, fuck you. And I don't mean that as a fuck you to you as an American, but fuck you to Taco, that fucking orange bastard. But the other thing is there's been a surge of Canadian patriotism, and we sort of adopted the elbows up slogan, which is a hockey analogy.
Yeah.
And you see cars all over the place now with elbows up stickers on the back of their car. I have one on the back of my car, even though it's a company car. Elbows up.
That's right.
It's highly offensive. But when all of that started, I had a whole bunch of stuff in my Facebook feed that I was social comments on the offensiveness of that thought that we should just roll over, and why wouldn't you want to, right? And I scrubbed all that and I got rid of all of it because I go, you know what? I don't need my American employer seeing that. Number one, I'm not friends with any of my American employers, but it's potential they could see it.
Yep.
More importantly, I do have to cross the border from time to time. I do have to go to the States in about a month from now. And there is the potential, and there's been a lot of reports of it in the news, they check your cell phones now randomly. And if they see stuff they don't like, you could be refused entry. And I go, you know what? I don't need that headache. So for the sake of making my life easier, and it's not that I'm rolling over, but I need my job to pay my mortgage and feed my family. So there's a time to shut up and a time to speak your mind. And,
right. We can't have anti-Americans coming in.
Right. I'm just absolutely toxic.
Yeah.
So
and I'll say too, I don't know, I blocked them or removed them. Scott, I don't know if you saw it. Somebody was coming after you and calling you names and shit, and we're not going to have that. So they've been
good.
They've been let go. But yeah, and it's not, it's like funny too. This is not a political stream, blah 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 blah. But these things ebb and flow. They come around. We're talking about what people are doing with their day and all that type of shit. So, concert buddies in the house. Hello,
where? Yeah, buddy.
Buddy, let me know if you want to join tonight, man. Crack open a cold one. Maybe get you some burnt ends. Like old time's sake. Have a little wild turkey on the rocks. You know the drill. That was a good time. I was just talking about the time last time I was in St. Louis, and Buddy and I were running around doing a bunch of shit.
Oh, I'd love to go see him in person one of these days.
Yeah.
Don't know that I have a reason to get to St. Louis anytime soon. But.
I mean, barbecue is a good enough reason. But.
Well, it's a good reason, but I'm not just going to go there solely for concert buddy and barbecue. Although that does sound like a very fun day.
I was going to say, we just need to work on a third mediocre thing, and then we're all like.
Maybe if I had a work excuse or something, but I won't because.
Go see a hockey game, maybe. Go see the Habs play the Blues. That'd be cool.
There you go.
Yeah, but you posting that video tomorrow normal time then?
Yeah. Once you and I are done chatting, I got to edit it, and it will be up tomorrow morning, as per usual. So
yeah.
Speaking of the hockey game, what's the score here?
I was going to check that. Yeah, I know Florida.
Oh shit! It is 4-2 for Florida with 3 minutes to go in the third. That's not good.
Oh, man.
Damn.
Hell of a series, and they're kicking themselves for pissing it away the other night too.
Yeah.
That was actually one of the fun. This was like a hilarious thing. I was having a moment with a friend of mine. He's not a hockey. He's not that he's not a hockey fan. He's just not a sports fan. He's kind of a nerd. He's like the typical I don't really do sports. I play video games. Like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
He was one of my best friends out here, and we just had like 45 minutes to blow before we were going to go do something else. And I was like, oh, let's watch Stanley Cup. I was like, we can watch hockey, whatever. And we start this at during the national anthem and the Canadian anthem. Is that?
Yep.
And of course, all this shit going on while they're in Florida. Sorry, Scott, but you know about your state. They're in Florida. This sweet woman is singing "Oh Canada" and just boos and heckles and all this shit coming from the crowd.
Sure. Well, we started that when this 51st state shit started. We started booing the American anthem.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's not meant to, and I'm sure it's not meant to be disrespectful to you. It's meant to be disrespectful to your leader.
No, I totally get that. And then of course, it's like the USA. And the funny thing is I'm sitting there with my buddy who knows nothing about any of this.
Right.
And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, what the fucking irony about all this is like 75% of the players on the ice are Canadian.
Yep.
In fact, of the, I don't know what is a roster, 20 people,
20
whatever.
something.
Yeah.
It's
like of the roster of the probably 40 people who are on the ice for both teams, I think a grand total of 3 of them were American.
Yeah.
And so I'm like sitting there just thinking about this irony of like we're booing people, we're chatting USA. I'm like half of these guys are Russian.
Right? Exactly. Yep.
So it's just But no, because this was the same finals as the Stanley Cup last year, right? It was Edmonton and Florida.
It's a rematch, yeah. I'm afraid I hope it doesn't go the same way it went last year, but
yeah.
it'd be nice to bring the cup lives here in the off season because the Hockey Hall of Fame's in Toronto. So once it makes it around through all the players, it's here anyway. But
Mick Jesus has got to get one, man.
Oh man, yeah. I just want someone to bring it home. It's been 93 was the last year when my beloved Montreal Canadiens won the last one.
Yep.
So
yeah,
it'd be nice.
And it's funny too. Florida's a tough one because they are such a good franchise.
Yeah.
But it's still not lost on me that during the regular season they struggled to fill half the arena because nobody there wants to go watch hockey.
Well, that's the fucking thing, right? I was reading in the paper. I sound
like Rob. You see, the Phillies won.
Son, give me my slippers and my pipe while I read the paper.
You kill a fly with your paper too.
Nice chopsticks like Mr. Miyagi.
That's right. That's so dumb.
I made that joke to my son. He's like, "Oh, I don't get it," because my son takes karate, but he didn't get the joke.
That's right.
But the digital version of the paper, they're talking about trying to bring another expansion hockey franchise to Atlanta. I'm like, well, the last 2 fucking teams didn't work.
Yeah.
And where's the last one? It's now the Winnipeg Jets.
They were the Atlanta Thrashers, right? And then they became the Jets. Yeah.
Right? And you look at even even in baseball, you look at the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, mind you, they're homeless right now. They're playing in New York's spring training facility. But when the Trop was there, even though that stadium's a shithole, there was nobody fucking there.
Yeah.
Or you look at when in hockey, the Phoenix Coyotes, when they were there, there was nobody there. Stop putting teams in markets where there's no fan base. Crazy.
It's hard though too because I'm sure there's people who probably get paid, significantly more than you and I combined to make these decisions. Because you think about like, I probably would not have had Vegas being a hockey place. But apparently that is like what's cool is that has become a thing to do. Like the people I know that go to Vegas, they're like, oh, we're hanging out on the Strip. Maybe we'll go see the Sphere, and then we're going to go to a Golden Knights game.
Yep.
Did you go?
So here's the thing. I go to Vegas twice a year. There's 2 different trade shows, right? And the last 2 times I've went, there was a band that I wanted to see that had a residency at the Sphere. First it was U2, and then it was the Eagles.
Yeah, it's like 2 of your favorite bands.
Right? So both times I go, I'm like, oh, shit, I better check. Well, of course, like the 4 days that I'm there, they're not playing. They play like the day before I get there and the day after I leave. I'm like, all right, well, no big deal. I'll see if the Knights are playing.
Yeah.
And both times the Knights have been on the road. I'm like, God damn it. Couldn't catch a break either time.
Damn.
So,
yeah.
But they got the football team, they got the hockey team, and then in a couple of years, the Oakland Athletics are moving to Vegas.
Yeah.
So they're going to have all 3.
So
but there's money in Vegas for that. Those stadiums are insane. They're incredible. They're huge.
Yeah, my brother had gone to a Knights game several months ago, and he's like everything else in Vegas. Like it's a spectacle. It's like it is an entire event. He's like the food, like everything is just insane.
Exactly. Well, that is Vegas. Is that everything about Vegas is just a spectacle?
That's right.
There you go.
Right. Oh man. Yeah, I remember I think I've been to Vegas twice now. I have not been in a long time. However, here's what's actually funny. You'll appreciate this because you go out there a lot, but also you're not a drinker, and my guess is that you don't partake in the nightlife as much as maybe a young Ron did.
The thing I get most excited about in Las Vegas is going back to my room as soon as possible after dinner so I can watch TV and sleep. I'm too old for all of that shit, and I couldn't give a flying fuck.
That's so funny. When I was, what's funny, and I'm probably kicking myself here. So sort of what I do for a living. We don't have to tell the people, but I work specifically with a very social demographic of people who arguably like to party a lot. And so our annual conferences are full of people who do what I do, and we like to party a lot. So I remember my first conference that I went to when I was in grad school. It was in Nashville, and it was just like a wreck. I mean, like it was like absurd. And then, it tones down when you're in places like Indianapolis or, like whatever.
Right.
And like any other conference of a bunch of social people, right? Like and our conference is maybe 1,000 to 1,100 people, but it's like we would take over the bar. You take over the hotel bar. You make that bar your place for the weekend, and you're just, you get. It's a 3-day conference, and you get to know the bartenders because you're just there all the time.
Right.
So they announced that our conference this year is in Vegas. It's at Caesars. And people are like, "Oh my god!" Like people are gonna die. Like it's like there's no way. And funny enough, because I have problems apparently, I decided that I took a volunteer role as like helping oversee the conference, which means I don't really I have to be up at like 6 a.m. Like I gotta be ready to go. Like I have to behave. I have to do all these other things. So I'll probably save a bunch of money, but I don't know how much fun I'm going to be having with all these other different people. But yeah, it was just like, I can't believe we're about to have this conference at Caesars. And the reality is too, though, is that I think a lot of people think it's going to be like this wild and crazy thing, but we don't have the opportunity to just take over the Caesars bar because there's 400 of them.
True.
I think people are going to be spread across the city doing all different things. I don't think it's going to be as wild as they think. And my favorite thing to do in Vegas, though, just because it's my style, I couldn't care less about like the strip or all that kind of stuff. I love Fremont Street. Like I
never been there. I think I've been to Vegas 12 or 15 times. I've never been.
Yeah, they would do a lot of. I didn't like it even to gamble, because I don't really gamble. Right. But again, it's the spectacle of it, and it's the old Vegas. It's like you still have like the Golden Nugget or whatever down there, and Fremont Street's just a party because there's live music going on. There's all those different types. Like it is pretty wild. They would do like a lot of music stuff too, because like they had like one of those like I don't know what you call it, like a visual ceiling.
Yeah, it's like they've covered the whole street over. It's got like a light show kind of deal.
Right. And every hour or whatever on the hour is a different artist sort of thing. And so I remember when I was there, they were doing Queen. So you'd get like a full like,
oh, that's cool,
like 3 to 5 minute like Queen showcase or whatever, which was like super cool down there. So
what I'm going to try to do this time when I'm in Vegas, and there's a chance I might get out of it, which would be awesome. If I don't have to go, that would be fantastic, because my role at work has changed and they gave me a very big promotion without asking me if I wanted it and haven't offered me any compensation for it. So
that sounds like a demotion, by the way.
I'm with my boss this week in Montreal, so he and I need to have a little chit chat. I'm going to say,
That's
hey,
right.
Listen, boss, suffice to say, there's been a big management change in the company. We changed ownership a year and a half ago, and they cleaned house with the upper management about a month and a half ago. And so now I got a new boss, and he's, not quite the party animal, but my last boss, when we were still a family-owned company, and when I say company, we are a multi-billion-dollar corporation that was owned by a family.
Right.
I won't say what it,
So it's not like a mom and pop shop that's local.
No, we our products are in a lot of people's houses, but we'll just leave it at that.
Sex toys.
No, not quite. When it was still owned by the family, it was run by the grandson of the founder, who is the 6th richest man in Italy. And my boss, they were childhood best friends, so they could do whatever they wanted. My boss would have these parties when we had the show in Vegas in the summer that were insane. So the last one, before my boss was told to retire, we stayed at the Palms, and there's a bar on the roof of the Palms, like 65 floors above the Strip.
Oh man!
We rented this private bar for the night. We had private security, private elevator, and it was some of the most expensive booze you could get, but it was all free.
Yep.
And I'm not kidding when I say that the boss hired an army of prostitutes. It was fucking insane. And I'm at this party that I did not want to be at.
Yep.
On the balcony of the Palms, fresh air overlooking the fucking Strip. And I'm with one of my customers, and I'm just going, I can't believe this fucking insanity. Like, thank God we don't do that shit anymore, because it was too much, man. It was too much.
It's like one of those moments of like, what is going on in my life right now? Like, what is happening? Well,
it's I'm working, so technically I'm being paid for this. I was like, what is this? What is this insanity? And I had another customer arriving halfway through the thing, so I had to go meet him downstairs at the bottom of the private elevator because he had to have a wristband and he didn't have one.
Yeah.
So I was going to the elevator. My boss was like, "Where are you going? You're not allowed to leave this party early." And I'm thinking to myself, God damn it, I wish I was leaving early. Like, I'm going to get a customer. It's like, oh, okay, great, because you're not allowed to leave. But what is my life right now? This is insane.
No, speaking of Edmonton and hockey, man, the time that I was there, we were given a private. We got a table in the club at the Bellagio.
Oh wow.
And it was like, I don't know, like, again, like I'm just there because like people are paying for it. And I was like 22 at the time. So of course I'm like, but it was Zach, my brother, and I were there, and like, I don't know, it was like $1,000 minimum at these tables, like just to sit. And they were just like, it was absurd, but it was a whole like nightclub. I'd never actually been to like an actual nightclub. Fucking like, they like call on the stage and they're like, please welcome to the stage the great one. And fucking Wayne Gretzky comes out with like 2 broads. Like, it was like
that fucking piece of shit.
I was like, what is going on right now? Like, I was like, I'm out of my, like, I was like 10 feet away from this fucking guy.
That motherfucker is the most hated fucking guy in Canada. We have fucking disowned that motherfucker.
Because he's a big Trumper or what?
Well, and he acted incredibly unprofessionally during that big hockey tournament back in the summer, or back in the whatever it was, the Six Nations Cup or whatever the fuck it was called. Yeah. He was our honorary captain, but wouldn't put on a jersey, and he was hanging out with the American team and ignored us. And it's like, well, if you're our team captain, motherfucker, at least shake hands with our fucking players. So yeah, because of his anti-Trump horse shit, we have fucking disowned him. And there's actually petitions. So there's a street in Edmonton, it's like Wayne Gretzky Way or whatever, and there's one in Brantford, Ontario, where he was born, which is down the road from me. And there's petitions to have those streets renamed. We are disowning that motherfucker. Great one. I saw this on the CBC, which is our one. It's owned by the government, but it's not like government propaganda. It's just the government. It's like PBS, but funded by the government. Basically,
I know it's CBC. It's the BBC. Yeah, it's all
exactly. Well, it's modeled exactly after the BBC. And there's this like satirical comedy show on there, and there was a guy on there, and he was doing a rant about Gretzky and Wayne Gretzky's father, who died 5 or 6 years ago, still lived in Gretzky's childhood home, and he would be at the minor hockey arenas every week, and he was like the ambassador for hockey. Yeah. And so this guy was ripping Gretzky for being a traitor and whatever, and he goes, "You may be the great one in hockey, but you're not the greatest Canadian." He goes, "You're not even the greatest Canadian with the last name Gretzky," which is like a fucking shot to the balls, insinuating that his father, who's a legend up here, and we love him.
Right.
Fuck you, Wayne. It was great.
Man, that's
Asshole.
I've kind of felt like that sort of like relationship kind of difference like with him over the last like several years. It's kind of funny too. It's always like hilarious to me having like the Stanley Cup finals going on at the same time as the NBA finals. And like I was like dying. Somebody posted, I thought it was hilarious, right? Like, obviously like someone like Wayne Gretzky, like probably got some problems with him, but I don't think there'd be like a better person to have as like a commentator. Like the guy knows hockey, obviously.
He does.
But it's like, you got like, okay, they got fucking like Wayne Gretzky. They got a personal favorite hockey player of mine, Henrik Lundqvist. I loved him. Like,
Sure.
He was always great. And then like some other guys to kind of round it out. And then like you turn over like the NBA and it's like Kendrick Perkins. Like it's like this fat fuck guy who sucks. He wasn't even a good player when he was playing.
Yep.
And so it was just like killing me. I want to highlight this for anyone. I don't know how much time I got left. Rob's got editing to do. I got to pee. All these different things. But for anybody I know, there's people out there. Richard, Music Talk with John. You always love a good stream. Scott, you love a good stream, buddy. If you're still watching, FBA, if you want to show that beautiful, beautiful face and hair of yours, the invite is there.
That's funny. Bring that comment back up about Gretzky. So Gretzky has a winery down in the Niagara Peninsula, not too far from Niagara Falls. I've been there a few times. I'm not a wine drinker. My wife says it's okay. Yeah, but it was funny when all this shit started going, and there was a big backlash against Gretzky, and there still is. We still fucking hate his guts. But when it first started, people were going into the LCBO, which is our liquor store, and they were defacing all of the tags on the bottles of Gretzky's wine and write traitor on it, whatever.
I love
fantastic.
That's amazing. Rob, entertain the troops. I gotta pee.
Oh boy. What am I gonna do? Sing karaoke?
Yep.
Huh. Nobody wants to hear that. John's trying to get his kid to. I have no control over the comments, folks, so I'm just gonna read them as they pop up. John's trying to get his kid to bed. Hopefully we'll still be on. Yeah, we'll probably be here. And Scott's saying, wow, I assume to our reaction against Gretzky. Yeah, he pissed us off, so fuck him. That's how mad I am. I only usually, swear a few times. I've sworn a lot because Gretzky's really pissed us off lately. So two things you don't mess with, Canadians and their hockey. I don't know what more to say. So, yeah. I don't know what else to say now that Alex is not here. Sing Tiptoe Through the Tulips? No, I'm not going to sing Tiptoe Through the Tulips. Scott says he loves my guitars. Yeah, well, I got a lot of them in here, man. There's, let's see here. Let me lift my camera up. There is, let's see. There's like 5 there, and there's a bunch more there. And there's Strat and a Les Paul over there, and there's a couple acoustics there. I have a few.
You definitely got one of the best like setups down there.
I love it. It's kind of my little, sanctuary. It's got the two things I love: music and guitars. And
that's you're in your basement, right?
Yeah.
I think that feels like that's like the dream of like I just want like a finished basement where I can just like call it a man cave, call it whatever, but like I just want a place for my fucking music, my records.
Yep.
Maybe I don't know if you got like a TV down there to watch hockey or the game or anything, but
there is a TV just through those doors right there. That's our rec room. And there's like a 70-inch TV on the wall. So
see,
I can see it. I can see it from my desk, but
yeah,
I purposely don't have one in here because I actually also work here. So
yeah,
my job happens here. So if there's a TV, I'm going to get nothing done. So
I
can put some records on and still get some work done. But if there's a TV on, I'm not going to get anything done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need a space to keep my stuff, right? And my wife is kind of cool about you can have whatever you want as long as it fits in your office. So it was great when we moved into this house. This room was completely unfinished. The rest of the basement's finished, but this room wasn't. And there wasn't even anything. It was literally just concrete floor and studs on the walls. We walked in this room, and my wife goes, "This would make a nice office for you." And I'm going, "Let's make this fucking room in the basement. You want to? Okay, sure. I will take that
If you insist.
if you insist." And it's what is it? It's like 20 feet wide, and 24 feet long. It's a big room, and it's completely full. I can't put anything more in here.
Yeah.
So
Not even more records, Rob.
Well, I got room for more records. There'll always be room for more records.
That's right.
There's always
But
room.
your year is going well in terms of the dial-in. Now, you talked about this of like dial back.
It was going well.
Yeah, until this weekend.
This weekend.
But do you see that being a? Well, I mean, okay. How long have you been doing this now? Well, you were one of the earlier collectors, right?
Oh, I started buying records in 1994 when I was like, how old I am? 16, 15 maybe.
Shit. When nobody was buying records,
When
right?
no one was buying records. So like my Beatles records, I have all Canadian first pressings, and most of them look like they've never even been played because in 1993 and 4, nobody gave a shit. So I was picking them up for like $5.
Yep.
So yeah, I was always buying. I mean, I had CDs back then too because there was stuff that just wasn't on vinyl, but I took stuff from Dad's record collection, and I had a record collection, and I've always done it. It's always been my preferred format. So
Yeah, that's cool, and I think probably different than like a lot of people, right? Like I think I probably have at least at this point on like people YouTube, like a more normal or common experience, which was that it was a COVID thing for me,
right,
and just sort of took off from there. But even in those 5 years since I've started collecting, like I've gone through this motherfucker. Keep doing that, John. Keep doing it, John. I want you to come up this way. Oh, you son of a bitch.
there he is.
Hey, John,
There
good
he
to see
is.
you, my friend.
How are you?
In those 5 years, and actually I know John is kind of moving a little bit more towards CDs. Like basically I think that's what I'm trying to get at is like, I mean, shit, every year, every 6 months, sometimes every week, we like reconsider our sort of approach to the hobby, our trends
Not
change.
Rob. Yeah.
Stuff that we buy. Like I'm in the middle. So I bought the, I think I might have told you, Rob, on our stream or on your stream last week. I got the Beatles in mono box,
Right.
and I was like, delivered to my door was like $605.
Money well spent.
And and I just went back and forth, waffled on all this kind of stuff, and I just told myself, I was like, I need to offload some shit, and this is going to be my kicking the ass to do so, and I have. But the thing I've been getting rid of big time now are a ton of my MoFis. I was buying so many, and I want to be clear, it has nothing to do with MoFi. It's not a MoFi gate thing. What I'm really saying is that it's really I'm offloading my audiophile stuff, because I was buying so many of those, and especially the double 45s. I am like over these double 45s, and so finally I made like a post on like we have like an Ohio vinyl collectors Facebook page, like I'm sure every state or province does, and I'm like, hey people, like I don't want to do it on Discogs because it's a pain in the ass, and I don't want to deal with like Discogs takes 10% now, which is a lot, and I just don't want to deal with this stuff. I was like, I'm selling these MoFis, come pick them up if you want them. And like they've been selling like hotcakes, which is great because like I have no emotional attachment to them. But for a while there, I was like, every time a record came out, I was like, I need to get that on MoFi. I need to have that audio file. I need to have this, and that's just not my thing anymore. And maybe it will be again sometime, but for me, not so much. And I will never unload those coal mines.
Yeah, coal mines.
Especially that $150 45.
That's right. This is for you.
There's the ass tee. There it is.
I had to whip it out just for you. Ooh,
there you go, man.
That's got a good ring to it. But John, you've been going through some internal conversations about your collection and what you want to do and all that type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just moving, well, it kind of all started with the hurricane, and that makes a big impact, and realizing what it took to put all those things away, all those live videos I did, and I'm just like, that's a lot. And I'm starting to think, I want a little bit less. I want to get it down to the essential on vinyl and have everything else on CD, because it is lately with my life, it's easier to kind of have the CD, put it on. And I'm with you with the 45s and the double albums. I'm done with the 3 songs, flip it kind of thing. It's not that great for me to keep doing that. So I made that decision probably about a year ago or so. And I'm with you. The first things I'm getting rid of is probably some of my box sets, the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
And just kind of getting it manageable, I think, where I'm not feeling stressed out about it. Sometimes I'm just like, I'll never, like you say, sometimes, Rob, I'll never listen to every one of these albums, in my lifetime if I tried.
Right.
So,
well, I try to listen to stuff as much as possible, but I also look at, you can look here. That is my entire record collection. That's it. And I've been collecting since 1994.
that's pretty good.
I'm listening to all of it, so, could I pare some of it down? I guess I could, but I'd like to think I'm fairly selective about what I'm buying. So, yeah. And I don't see it changing. I don't do the audiophile stuff. I don't, it's all stuff that gets listened to. So I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Yeah, I just keep getting new stuff. I'm just like, I got to slow that down and get back to my old stuff here.
I was giggling a little bit, John. I mean, obviously, is that still the same shirt that you recorded in earlier? Because that's a great shirt.
No, this is not the same.
Different. Oh, it is a different shirt. You're right. I was kind of giggling a little bit. One of those very friendly judgment things, right? That we do all the time. I'm sitting there. I was like, I know John's been talking about like dialing back, selling some stuff, moving towards CDs. Now he comes with like this. He's got a vinyl haul, and 90% of them are fucking bootlegs. I'm like,
well, I can't get those on CD. I know, Mr. Contradiction right here.
He's like,
oh no! Don't think I didn't realize that when I'm putting my videos. I'm like, this is not working in order here. I'm getting rid of albums. Hey, look at the albums I just got.
He's like, yeah, but this BBC broadcast, it's like,
yeah. But in fairness, you can't get those. I haven't found those on CD. So
yeah,
a lot of those radio broadcasts. Some I have. Actually, the Billy Joel was a surprise. That I was like, oh, right after I buy the album, I find we have the CD too. I'm like, but I like a lot of those radio broadcasts. Those are like amazing. Like for being off the board or whatever, man, you get some good stuff.
It's good to see more and more of those. I guess the copyright laws in Europe have changed. That's why we see more of them now.
Yeah, Fluxes, but I got this Tom Waits one that I got to get through. It's all radio broadcast stuff from like 90, what was that, 77, 2006, 1999. So if you like Tom Waits, yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Well, I feel like, obviously it's like that type of stuff is perfect for like the, the completist or like the big fan and all that type of stuff, right? Like if you, because I was never one to buy a lot of this stuff because, the history of those things was that, the sound was terrible and all that type of stuff.
Right.
But kind of like, as like Rob was saying, is like, nowadays the people who are doing them, it's like the chances are they're taking it all from probably like a digital source anyway. And it's just like, let's just take, which is probably great quality and all that type of stuff.
Well, these are pretty clear. They're radio broadcasts, so it was enough for a radio station to play it. And I don't know if these are all out of Europe or what the deal is. How they're coming in.
Will be.
But it is legal, I guess, the way they're doing it because they have different laws. So it's kind of a cool thing. But you get I noticed on a lot of them, you get like a spontaneity from the artists and energy from the audience that you don't sometimes get on a produced live album that's been some of these it's just what it was, and so if something happened or whatever, you get that excitement and they don't cut that out or try to edit it. So I think there's something to those broadcasts. The Prince ones I've heard too. Yeah, those are pretty bad.
I don't even know how many I have, if any. It's like for me, would have to be a band or artist that I was like well, two things. Either like a completist with, where I'm like, I just need everything they've ever done, or I do like the idea of. I don't have it, but I kind of want it. There's a unofficial / boot of Bruce Springsteen at the Agora in Cleveland. That's a pretty popular unofficial record, right? Like it's everywhere. Good packaging, all that type of stuff. And so that type of stuff is cool to me. Not necessarily because it's Bruce Springsteen. I do love Bruce Springsteen, but because it's at the Cleveland Agora, it's like I love the whole Ohio thing, and so I'm more drawn to those stories or experiences that have that sort of like local connection.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Pearl Jam. I don't know if they did it in your area, but every city they were going into, they were making probably right off the soundboard. And it was like Best Buy had a ton of them from all these different cities. So they had St. Pete here, Tampa. That was probably the mid 90s to late 90s.
They were like in a cardboard looking sleeve. It almost had like a stamp on it or something.
They just, I don't even know.
Were they CDs?
CDs,
yeah. And they were
I know Metallica did that at the recently, because I know Anthony Gambler
Wilco's done the same thing.
It was like it was wild, like because I think they were doing probably like the 2 shows in the same city type thing, and like you could go the second night and buy the previous night's CD like that night, and like for people who do both the shows, like what a cool right, like that's amazing. What a cool what a cool experience.
Yeah, that is cool.
John, I know I was surprised that you didn't show in your hall, and I'm curious, and I recognize that it is a bottomless pit because it feels like every week there's another 4 records coming out.
Yeah,
but technically we are getting and has been released a new Neil Young record.
They got cut from the order at the record store because it would have been in my hands. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A couple other record stores got it, but mine didn't. Yeah, it's like you bastards. But I heard the one track, and it reminds me of Harvest Moon. That one track that the first one about the trees or whatever.
Oh yeah, because it's talking to the trees. Because I mean that's the thing, right? Is like yes, Neil Young is cranking out 400 records a week, but most of them are from 60 years ago or live or reimagined. Like he's not cranking out brand new shit. He is, but not what the releases would imply. But this, I think, is a lot of this band that he has. Isn't it a bunch of cats from Promise of the Real?
Yeah, he had them. He's been with them for a while. I thought they had another name, but because I haven't. What, they Chrome Hearts or something on this one? Is that the Chrome Hearts?
Chrome Dreams, Chrome Hearts, Chrome something. Yeah, it's the Chrome. Yeah,
but he did that record store day release, the fucking up one, where he took the songs, renamed them, and released it for record store day. Right. And it was a live event, but that was the same band. He's been, it's Willie Nelson's kid.
Yep, Lucas, yeah.
Lucas, yeah. So, I'm pretty sure it's most of those same guys. The only difference on the other one was I think Nils Lofgren was part of that one.
Yeah.
Which he's from the old Crazy Horse way back.
Yeah.
Back in the day. So, yeah. But no, that would have been shown, but no, I didn't get it. I'm waiting. Yeah, there's only certain ones I'll get, though. Like you said, for the radio broadcast, I got a Zevon. I got a Tom Waits. Yeah, the Zevon's really good. And any Billy Joel's. But other than that, I try not to get too crazy with the broadcast.
Scott, I don't know if we've talked about this. My brother, we got to be talking about the same guy. Are you talking about Bob Schneider from Austin, Texas? My brother is a monster Bob Schneider fan. And when I was down visiting him last month, Bob Schneider plays the same club every single Monday night in Austin. The Saxon Pub is what it's called. He plays the same show every night. And so we went to one of those shows. He's great. He's brilliant. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you were a Bob Schneider guy. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it plays the same Monday. We went to the show there about a month ago. Yeah, it's great.
I had 3. One was a tribute.
Oh, man. Mark Morris, one of my favorite people in the world. I just want to take a moment and appreciate this man. Mark, you need to. Well, you know what? I don't mean to say it. I don't mean to say you need to come back. Need to come back. That is my way of saying that you are greatly, greatly missed and valued, and I love and people love your videos. I'm not going to say you need to come back because I think there's some implications of like why people step away, whatever. I just want to let you know, Mark, you're one of my favorite people in the whole wide fucking world, and I miss the hell out of you, man. And your videos are some of my favorites. So, and you get Ghost Team tomorrow, so there you go. Yeah, but I think that the I was almost called it the Young Estate. No, he's still alive. It's still Neil. I think the stuff they do is amazing. And again, like there's so many you showed. Actually, I think you did show the Zuma and then Doom or Dune.
Doom. I just play with it called Duma, but I don't know if that's what it's called.
It's like the same thing with what Comes a Tide, and then like Ocean Countryside, like kind of like a similar thing of like a reworking / tracks from both and new tracks, all that type of stuff. So,
yeah, this was more of a direct thing, I think. What was it? Yeah, still have them here. And they did a different artwork. It was kind of cool.
Yeah,
they changed that up, but I think there was like one song that was missing. Oh no, yeah, it is different because this is 2 discs. And this is
Doom is 2. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I just buy Neil Young stuff and I play. That's all I can say.
I love it. Rob, what is the next record that you are looking forward to coming out this year?
There's nothing on my radar right now.
Okay.
There was a few things that came out and I got them, and there's nothing on the horizon right now, which is good.
What about that Springsteen box that's coming out? You looking
I can't
into
afford
it?
the box. I'm going to do the 2 LP sort of the best of the lost albums. I'll do that one.
Yeah, I heard they got it down to like $2,000. It's not bad. It's reasonable now. It's crazy what, and the tracks I've heard off of that I'm not impressed with.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't happy with those.
Karen Dalton. I can't tell if that is a name I recognize or if it's just a very like basic name. So it's like you ever hear of Paul Miller and you're like,
Nope.
probably,
Maybe.
but also
Probably.
Interesting. I love that. Sounds pretty damn good. What about you, John? I mean, I know you just did like a bit of a haul thing, but is there anything like on the did he well actually for both of you, because I know you're 2 are big fans, didn't Mike Campbell and Dirty Knobs just release a new music, like a new single or something?
It was a new single, yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. No.
It came out last Friday, I think. Yeah.
So he's got
Is that
another
going
album
to be connected to a future album?
I would imagine it probably is. I haven't heard it yet, but
Yeah.
my buddy Tim, that's been on my stream the last few weeks, he actually saw Mike in concert and they played the new song live last week. So he said it was pretty good.
Yeah, he's going to be here soon. I might try to go. It's just the scheduling
Sounds like
conflict.
my kind of woman, Scott.
Drunken, missing teeth, haunting voice. There you go.
There you go.
She should be a blues singer.
I was going to say that's what I look for in my Bumble profiles. Like, not that either of you would know what Bumble is.
Not a clue.
No.
I can surmise.
It's a dating app, Rob.
Do you show your feet on there?
No,
That's for the OnlyFans.
This little piggy.
different thing. That's why I have YouTube memberships, John. Yeah.
Hey, listen, fellas, I'm going to run because I got video editing to do. So it's been fun, but I'm going to
Cool.
split.
Have that hoop tea, brother.
All right. Good seeing you again, John.
Yeah, you
Good seeing
too.
you, Rob. Take care, man. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Ciao.
All right, now John's in the hot seat. Now I get to just ask John all the questions I've ever wanted to ask him.
I just wanted to go to bed.
All right,
I
well,
saw, I saw your thing with no, I'm kidding. What's his name in Australia? Ben.
Oh, Ben Rankins, yeah.
I was laughing my ass off on that one.
Yeah, he's a funny cat. He's a really funny guy. No, we'll wrap this at 11:30. That gives us 7 minutes.
Okay.
So you're 7 minutes in the hot seat. You ready?
Okay, I have my questions prepared.
Well, you don't, because I haven't told you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All music related.
Mm-hmm.
it's based on my sort of memory of like your favorite artists or people that you talk about, bands that you talk about. So it's going to be a lot of like favorite, best, all that type of stuff. You ready?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And the questions might have a follow up.
Okay.
All right, ready?
I'm good. I got it.
Wildflowers, Damn the Torpedoes, or neither?
I'm gonna go with Wildflowers.
Would you say that is that? Well, and I guess if you would have said neither, is that my next question was me your favorite Tom Petty record?
My favorite? That it's funny because I like the 80s. What's the one I play the most? It's either Full Moon Fever or believe it or not, well, no, Southern Accents. Nope, that's my favorite. Yeah.
Southern Accents?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What a song that is, huh?
Oh, that song itself, yeah. Yeah.
I think
the Orange Groves.
I think my problem with Southern Accents, I remember talking to Sam about this because of course he's a huge Tom Petty fan, is the highs on that record are so high. But then doesn't he do there's like a couple tracks that what's his face wrote from or that partners with from the Eurythmics on there, right?
Yeah, was it Dave Thomas?
Or Dave Thomas. He's the Wendy's guy.
The Wendy's guy. I always say Dave Thomas. It's Dave.
It's the Baconator. He's got
yeah. Every album comes with a free coupon for free fries.
Yeah, don't joke. I could do that.
I always call him that. Yeah.
Not Annie Lennox, the other guy. Yeah, what's his
Dave Stewart.
Dave Stewart. That's right. Dave Stewart. Well, I think those tracks, I always refer to it as Disco Duck. I'm like, this feels weird. Like you hear like Southern accents, and you're like, this might be the best song I've ever heard.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Return to Roots, and it has that feel. It's a Return to Roots album, but the one that really throws it off, but still fits, is Don't Come Around Here No More. That's like psychedelic as hell, you know.
What a track that is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just listening to that, you're like, holy crap. And it doesn't really get stuck in the 80s to me. It kind of works. I don't think it's aged. I think it's aged well, in my opinion.
I think Don't Come Around Here No More is totally aged well. Yeah.
Yeah. But then you have like Spike on there. I mean, what the hell's that about? You know,
Like
and then I always like the very last song too, where she used to work she works in a restaurant like her mama did. You know, I wish you the best of everything. It's just really, I mean, the song Rebels. I love that song.
Rebels is great. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's only 9 songs too. So to me, I have no problem listening to that from beginning to end all the time. Yeah.
So we got Southern accents.
Yep.
All right. The worst Billy Joel album.
All right. The worst. Well, how did I rank it? Are you trying to look at my ranking? Because
I'm not going to go back and watch it. I'm just curious what you would say off the cuff, because that shit changes. What is the worst today on June 14th?
Yeah. Well, we'll say my least favorite because there is no worst. You know.
No, for sure.
It's usually Cold Spring Harbor. Yeah, that's the one I go to the least. So I'd say Cold Spring Harbor. Although there's good stuff on there. And he wrote it as
when did that album come out?
That was 70.
70?
Yeah. Yeah, because Piano Man was like 72, 73.
Oh, God. That's so wow. I didn't even consider that. Was that early?
Yeah. Yeah, because Attila and all that stuff, that craziness was all in the 60s.
Do you like that stuff?
I used to just have it, and I started listening to it. I'm like, man, not bad. You know, it's not bad. You know, I can put it.
You have it on vinyl?
Yeah, I have 2 of the Attila albums, and I have the one Attila album and the 2 Hassles albums on vinyl.
Gotcha.
Yeah, actually, Chance sent me my first one of my Attila or my Hassles, The Hour of the Wolf. So
I'll have to try to track some of those down.
Yeah, because you find it sometimes in a record store, and they want one guy had it for $90 for the Attila one, and I'm like, you're out of your mind. I mean, it's more like for Billy Joel fans. So I picked up a copy locally. Each one was like about $5, so that was perfect.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, not saying it's this song, but this is it's got a good question or a good comment here. how do I frame this in a very positive way? What is the Billy Joel pop song that you never need to hear again?
You talking about like a single release on the radio, or?
Well, I mean, assuming it doesn't have to be, I guess. If there's like a deep cut, you never need to hear again. But I'm thinking of like,
Yeah, there's two.
a lot of like the overplayed stuff, but also it's your question. You do what you want with it.
Yeah, I go in, I go in waves with Billy. Sometimes I get tired of one album, like The Stranger. I got tired of for a while, but then I go and listen to all the other ones.
Yeah.
But the two I could do without were off of Stormfront, and it was When in Rome and what's the one right next to it? They're back to back. They're like last two songs, When in Rome and I don't know that other one. Shoot, I gotta look it up.
I was gonna say I'm not even familiar with Stormfront, so
Stormfront, the song Stormfront grew on me after a while. I couldn't appreciate it when I was younger, but it has these horns and kind of this rhythm and blues kind of thing going on. It's not as mix mash as The Bridge, but
yeah.
But it works. Let me see. This is gonna make me crazy.
1989. Jesus.
Yeah. Let's see. What are the last two?
Okay, so We Didn't Start the Fires off that one.
Yeah, I still like that song.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was 1989. That song.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, I was there the day that freaking thing came out. Let's see. There's a track listing. State of Grace. That was what. Yeah. So State of Grace and When in Rome. They're just kind of like, it's like you were saying earlier. You have the other songs are so strong in the album that you can see the ones that are just kind of like status quo, middle of the road. They're not bad, but it's like, you didn't do your whole thing that you do. Like, the Ballad of Billy the Kid, where you have these intros and, go into different sections and scenes from Italian restaurant kind of thing. But this album, it would be those two songs. Yeah.
All right. My last and final question before we say goodnight.
Okay. Oh, and you froze. There he is. Okay.
You're going. It's the deserted island, the stupid deserted island question.
Glenn's question. Okay.
But with you can only bring 3 Neil Young or Neil Young related.
Okay.
So feel free to go off into like Buffalo Springfield land or CSNY or whatever you like. 3 Neil Young or Neil Young related records. Just 3.
Just 3. Okay, because there's a strong 4th, so I'm gonna have to cut it.
Well, I'll let you do the 4th.
Okay, then that's easy. It's Harvest, After the Gold Rush, Freedom, and Neil Young with the Blue Notes.
Really?
Yeah, I love that album.
Really?
Yeah. Though, if I just off the top of my head, the ones I go to a lot, those 4 albums.
I mean, the first 2, I was like, same. And then when you're like Freedom, I was like, strong. Freedom's great. And then when you try, I was like, I'm
how do you pick that over This Note's for You? Well, I did.
Right. I was like, what about the Flashing Pinks or whatever? Like, whatever.
I like that album too. That's good, but that wouldn't be one of my.
Wow.
Yeah,
I do not even. Those are the. I actually have a. I think what of the Geffen stuff. I have Trans and.
Which wasn't bad. Actually,
I don't have Landing on Water.
Okay.
What was the one? Was that after Trans?
Trans, Walking. The one you're talking about, kind of Fonda Wanda, the Shocking whatever.
The Shocking Pinks, right? Yeah.
That was somewhere in there too. I don't know what other one was in that area. So that's all the 80s stuff. But yeah, no, the Blue Note, I don't know. There's something about that album that was just, I don't know, with the horns and everything. And
you know what? You might have inspired me to like seek that shit out now.
Yeah.
I mean, I just appreciate sort of the gangster of it. You know what I mean? Like that's just again, your first 2 were, what I think probably like 90% of people would say.
Yep.
You know what I listened to for the first time about 2 weeks ago was Ragged Glory. I'd never actually listened to that record. It's a great record, man.
That one, it was off my radar for years and years. I didn't even, and then I got the box set, with Freedom, Ragged Glory, all that.
Yeah.
I'm like, why did I not? Because that's the one with what was the Farmer song or whatever? Farmer.
Oh God, yeah. Is that
remember.
box set? Does that have Sleeps with Angels, Talks to Angels?
No.
Talks to Angels.
No, it's just before that.
It's before that. Okay, yeah.
No, it did have Freedom, Arc, which is just a weird instrumental piece.
Yeah.
What was not Live Rust? What was the live one? It was a 2 LP live set.
Oh.
And it had Ragged Glory, which I think Ragged Glory was
Weld?
Yeah, Arc and Weld, those two.
Okay.
So it's funny, I've been searching for years for Freedom, finally got like a original copy, and then that box set came out. I'm like, well,
yeah.
So that's what I need to do in my collection though. What do I do? Do I keep this cool piece of history of a first pressing or whatever of Freedom, an album I really like? Because I already have a perfectly good reissue over here. So
it's funny. If I were you, so I have an original Freedom too, which is cool because it was, what was that, 89?
Somewhere in there.
It's like there's just not a lot of original stuff that you can get at that point. But because I'm in that place too, right? Like one of the things was a couple of years ago, I bought like the Van Halen box set, Volume 2 or whatever. So I think it was like everything from like 5150 on. And so I was like, well, obviously now I could get rid of like 5150 and OU 812 because they're part of the box, and I'm not going to get rid of the box,
right?
But people like us, we just shit the bed on this stuff. So that's the one.
Yeah, and it's like, everybody's rocking. Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's usually like an album I'm really fond of, and that's where I end up getting multiple copies that I don't need. It's just like, but I don't know. That'll be I have other ones I definitely know are going to go first, especially stuff I have on CD. I was mentioning like some like that 90s era anyway that was made for digital and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I already have it on CD, the album's probably going to go because I'm not that crazily attached to it.
Sure.
So just going to do it that way. Yeah.
Well, thank you for indulging me in those questions. That was awesome. I'm going to think of some more for the next time. And thanks for jumping up on here. And thanks all of you for watching. 2.5 hours, not bad. I'm going to watch some Law & Order SVU because that's what I do on Saturdays. And John, have a good rest of the weekend, my friend.
You too, man.
Happy Father's Day to you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Appreciate y'all watching. Thanks so much. Have a good night, Scott, Kyle, everybody watching, everybody. And thanks a lot. Take care of you and yours. Later.
Bye.